Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this match reaction to Fulham 2, Chelsea 1. I think there's going to be some sort of lengthy discussions today. The stuff that we need to actually talk about, especially on what I saw yesterday. And it's not even just the players, because we know how rubbish these players are. We're going to get into that anyway. But we're also going to talk a little bit about Potter, a bit about the board, how we feel at the moment from what we're seeing. Where do we need to go from this? What do Chelsea do next? Do we continue to panic and start buying players for the sake of it? Or do we have to just long out what we're actually currently seeing at the moment and potentially maybe wait to the summer and get our priorities then in terms of positions? We're going to talk about everything and that, and we're going to open up the lines later on, and we're going to do player ratings, and we're probably going to garbage talk some of these players because they deserve it, to be fair, at this point. But before we move forward, over 100 of you guys here already tuned in, minute in. Make sure you're hitting the likes. Let's get this over 100 likes on both channels, please, as quickly as possible. Subscribe to both channels as well. Lots to get into, lots to talk to, and let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV. And unfortunately, again, these players just can't turn up for a game. We have lost to Fulham in a derby 2-1. I can't even remember the last time we actually lost to Fulham. That's how bad this is. But, you know, not great in terms of stats and performances the last 8 and 9 games. Continuous losings, maybe one win, I think, in this as well. We are in the fucking mud, guys. We are in the mud hard. And we're going to talk about that. Go through your comments. Got Forward, who's joined me on this one as well. He messaged me last night and he was like, bro, I need to join you on this one, man. It's time. It's time. Forward, before we get into things. Forward, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I can't complain. Other than the club that I support, I can complain a lot. And we will definitely complain a lot on this show. But yeah, no, other than that, I'm good, bro.
I'm fed up of moaning about my club, but at this point, it's like, is this what it is? Are this is what we're just going to have to be for this season, like, and just take it in and wait to the summer? Like, I don't know, but it's horrible, isn't it? Being a Chelsea fan, we're just not used to this, are we? Forward, we're not used to this, not used to this kind of.
We are spoilt in the very best way. Like, we have been spoilt for many years, and like, yeah. But now we have to, like I've been saying for quite a while, we just have to accept what it is that the season's going to be. You have to firm it, but we're still here watching the games 90 minutes week in, week out, twice a week, 3 times a week. And we have to talk about it because obviously what we're seeing is not at the standard of what Chelsea should be.
And on top of that, I'm meant to be going to Palace on Sunday, and I really just want to sell my ticket. I'll be honest with you. Like, or either that, I'd go into the pub 3 hours before and drink, so that I don't. So when I'm sitting there, I don't visually actually feel like I'm there. So when things happen, it eases the pain, because that's what it's become. Chelsea are going to make me an alcoholic,
bro. It's not a bad shot, bro, honestly.
Chelsea are going to make me become an alcoholic after what I'm watching. I can't. And it's getting past the anger. I'm going to sound a bit angry when I talk in a second about everything. But, like, it's becoming laughable. Like, I don't know what to say anymore. Laughable to the point of how much of a joke this is and how much we're in the mud. But we're going to get into things in a second. I want to go through the chat because there's 200 people here already. Big up to Louis Quinn, who's just become a new member of the channel. Thank you very much for doing that as well. Appreciate that as always. Big up to Proud to be Geordie. Big Ron's in the house. Hiking with Martin is in the house. Big up to him. He says, help us, Jem. You're the only hope. What hope am I? All you're going to hear is me. All you're going to hear is me moaning. I can't do anything. I can't change Potter or Bowley's opinions of this squad. I can't make Joao Felix not do stupid tackles. I can't stop Chalobah having a stinker and Kepa just being Kepa and Kovacic and Jorginho playing in his team. I don't know. We're going to get into. I can't control that. All I can do is just share the pain with you lot in the chat. Big up to M3. I'm confused as to why Potter changed the formation. We're going to talk about that. That's something I want to get into. Big up to Oggy as well. Jules Pod. Matty says Potter out. He's always been a Potter out, Matty. I've got to give it to me. He's never wanted Potter from the beginning. And he still carries that through. John Anderson, who's a member here, says the gem man. Big up to you, bro. Don, nice to see you. We are going to open up the lines, guys. We will definitely do that and give you guys the opportunity to come in and have your say in a bit. We are in the mud. That is what we are. That should be our new nickname. In the Mud FC. In the Mud FC. Oh, mate. Big up to Concierge, bro. Just cancelled this season. Honestly, if I could fast forward this season to the summer, I would do it. I would do it. Honestly, I would do it. Big up to Andy. Big up to Josh as well. He says here goes 2 hours of these players, these players, that. No, actually, yeah, yeah, to a degree. No, we're gonna do a bit of everything today, Josh. To be fair, big up to you. Everyone that's here. There's so many people here. I'm trying to say hello to everyone, but big up to Bantu HR as well. Jem, can you send me the link? Who's that? Jem, can you? Wait, who is this person? Which person is this? Is that Alex? That might be Alex, I think. Let's see if I can. 1 second, guys. Let me just quickly see. I think that might be Alex. So let me just quickly send him the link so he can join. You ain't gonna like what I've got to say. Actually, you will like what I've got to say. You probably agree with me on most things, to be honest. But we'll get Alex in as well. As you already know him, the guy that does the fan cams, the man that runs Chelsea Fan TV, wants to join. He's got the link. But yeah, let's get into it. It's not Harry, it's Alex. Alex will be joining us in a second as well. Joao Felix in 60 minutes, better than Havertz in the last 10 matches. Pathetic as well. We're going to get into it, and I'll start. Let me just start. Let's just get into this, shall we? All right. I'm just going to say what I feel, and it might sound very lengthy. It might sound very dragged out, but I'm just going to say what I've got to say and how I feel from what I saw yesterday. And where to start? I'll probably just quickly start with the players. We are going to do a player rating, so I won't individually talk about them, but I'm going to talk about the core of this squad. Yeah. And one of the things that I always bang on about this team, about this bunch of players that we have at Chelsea Football Club, is that we lack so many things. And where it's so easy for people on social media just to sit there and blame Havertz and blame Mount, yeah. Equally, okay, I get it. We can criticize them because the performances ain't good. Taking them out does not solve all of our issues at the football club. That is I can't stress that anymore to this fan base, but who have this very narrow-minded opinion that if you just take 1 or 2 players out of your team, it solves your issues. That is not true. There is a number of things that, including individual performances, that let this Chelsea team down, right? Alex, I'm just going on a little bit of a lengthy run at the moment, so I'll be with you in a second, right?
No problem.
Yes, going back to it. Individual performances not good enough. And I get that you might hate one player more than the other, and it's easy to target that one person when they play shit. But there is more issues than just 1 or 2 players in this team. We have such a big issue with balance in this squad, to the point that when even Reece James doesn't play, we have no balance. How bad is that? That we rely on the right back to bring us balance in our squad. And I know he's a great player and he's the best in the world in his position, in my opinion. I get that. But that is a real weird situation, in my opinion, that the fact that we rely on Reece James to actually bring us balance. Equally, we lack quality. We have numbers in this squad. Numbers means nothing if the quality isn't right in the positions that you're trying to play and the systems that you're trying to play. And that's another problem. Too many players either that don't want to be here, right, or just lack the actual quality to be in this first team. Another real issue that we have at this point, in at Chelsea. Thirdly, another big issue that we have at Chelsea Football Club is we have no spine, we have no leadership, and we lack experience, and we lacked real leaders. Azpilicueta and Jorginho are the worst leaders, captains I have ever seen at Chelsea Football Club since I was born in 1990. I have not seen a worse 2 captains in my life, to the point that when we go 1 goal behind, or even 2, the drop-off effect. No one crunches a tackle. No one lifts the team. No one seems to talk. Yeah? No one does anything. We lack such a spine in this squad. It is ridiculous, right? On top of all of it, I really do feel that we need to empty this out. I think we have to pick the bag up, turn it upside down, and literally empty it out and start again. It is not good. And why we can sit here and moan at Havertz, and why we can sit here and moan about Mount, fine, criticize them. Not saying don't do that. There is more problems. There is more than that. This is a squad that's gone back to even Roman. And when you guys are screaming for Roman back, yeah, this is built up from him as well. It's, you know, this is not just the new ownership. This new ownership's took it on. And he's trying to potentially sort things out as well. But they're going to need time. They can't do it in one summer window or one January window. It's going to need time. But what they need to do as a board is that they need to make a decision. The decision is, if we can't get our number one priorities in the January, don't fucking sign anyone. And let's just ride this shit wave until the summer and then sort this shit out. Because I don't want seconds and thirds at my football club because we're panicking and they don't suit what we're doing. We're just like, oh shit, this is really bad. Let's just get Thuram and this one or that one. If they're not players that are not looked at as the future of this football club and are only here to solve a problem now, I ain't really interested. The board need to make a decision of that. Or equally, they splash the cash on one position, and if there's a chance that they can get a player that we need, like an Enzo Fernandez, even though it's lots of money, 120 million, do it. Fuck it. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, we need that position solved anyway. And if Enzo Fernandez is the guy, along with maybe someone else in the summer window, I don't mind that. I'm looking past the money now because that midfield is a real problem, especially now Zakaria's gone. You want to see Jorginho play every game for the next fucking 4 or 5 months? With Kovacic, we've got 2 players as sixes. We've got no other sixes. They're gone. You know, like, so make your decision. You either stick to this and we just suffer and just accept that it's just going to be shit. Yeah. Or we sort out of one position and we commit to it if there's a chance to sign a top quality player for getting the money. I'm not even joking. Just do it and get someone in. Yeah. All right. It might not solve all our issues. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But equally, I promise you now, putting Enzo Fernandez in that team yesterday, he would have controlled that game. He would have been able to make them passes to Joao Felix when he's running in behind. Yeah. Like this is the quality of a player that possesses so much, you know? And then it gets to Potter. And yes, there is people that back him and there's people that hate him and want him out and think he's not good enough. The truth is with Graham Potter is that it is still early to judge. But he needs to somehow solve what's going on right now. And he ain't helping himself. Because yesterday playing a back 3 against Fulham was the most pointless thing I have ever seen in my life. He actually done it the wrong way round. He should have played the back 3 against Man City and played the back 4 against Fulham. He actually mucked it up himself. And then on top of that, he still equals to play certain players that in theory shouldn't even be playing. And not giving people like Carney Chukwuemeka, a chance to play when he deserves to play because he's actually playing well. And when he does come on, he does something. You know? Like Potter, you have to look at Potter as well. Decisions that he's making are not good and he's not helping himself and he's putting himself in trouble. We can't keep losing games. This is not good. You know, we can not get Champions League, you know, but win a fucking game. This is Fulham. These boys on the pitch don't even have the bottle, the pride. And people like Alex that goes to every game and watches this. Yeah, I'm watching it on TV and I feel sick. I feel sorry for him going down to every game and having to watch this team not playing for the badge because they're not even doing the basics at the moment. It is disgusting. And this squad need to look at themselves. It's not good. Thiago Silva's the only one that can hold his head high for me. Always does in that team. And it sucks to be a Chelsea fan at the moment. But if this is what it's going to be for the next couple of months, and it is what it is, then we're just going to have to stick with it. But Potter's going to have to find a way around it. He can't lose every game. We'll get relegated. we won't make it. You know, he needs to do something. So, you know, yeah, I've had my moment. I've said what I've got to say. You know how I feel. I'll let Forward go and then we'll let Alex go. Guys, take it away. Take it away. 400 people here, by the way. Smash the likes. Over 400 people. Subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV as well. Yeah, smash the likes and GNA TV as well, and let's rant together. Go on, guys. What you got to say?
Yeah, man. I mean, wow. How do I follow that? But no.
Was that a good speech? Or
No, it was good. It
was
was
I
good.
talking shit in any way?
No. I agreed with everything that you said, bro. And it was certainly a lot more passionate than what we saw on the pitch last night. I mean, like, again, we've become accustomed to those performances, and that's why, like, I've reached a point where it's certainly apathy that I feel towards this team. Like, it's hard for me to get too angry, too excited, too anything, because I just know what I'm gonna get. But the funny thing about yesterday is that there was a slight shift because we brought in a player who we know has technical ability, has what it takes to excite me as a fan. And even though he may not get a lot of goals or assists, I thought, you know what, he'll do things that as a fan I can at least, applaud. That gets me out of my seat. I can actually get excited. And like even in the first minute when he went down the wing, nutmegged Ream, put on a great ball to Havertz to go and score. Like that, I was like, oh my god, like we got a player who can do something impressive. Like that's it. Like I was actually getting a bit excited again. But obviously, naturally, we were brought back down to earth by another pathetic Chelsea performance, and it's summed up by the fact that again, every time we concede a first goal in a game, and it's funny because a lot of these games recently, we don't start games that badly. Like if you really think about it, City at home, we started pretty well. City away, we were toothless, but at least first 20 minutes, it was nip and tuck. The whole game was in our half, but it wasn't like City were dominating us. Bournemouth at home, we started quite well. Forest away, we started quite well. But as soon as we concede that first goal, and I tweet it every time, it's almost become like a ritual because we concede the first goal a lot. But I say, will these players rise to the occasion or will they bottle it? Will they crumble and will they fold like a deck of cards? And as always, they prove me right and they go and fold. And it's very jarring because I grew up in a time, and Jem, you the same, I'm sure Alex the same as well, that we grew up in a time where the Chelsea that we knew, they were known for having ball. They were known for digging deep. They were known for being mentality monsters and like leaders of men, leaders of their country. Like these guys were different. They were built different, and they wouldn't always play great football. They wouldn't always win. But I tell you what, they would always fight, and they would always, give you the belief that they can come back and they can get a result, no matter what's happening, no matter who they're playing, and no matter what the circumstances are. And I just don't feel that with this team. And again, frustrating how that game panned out. So many mistakes that obviously we'll get into. But again, a lot of this is just a reflection of poor management from the previous board, and the fact that when you look at this squad, a squad that again 3-4 years ago we feel like should be building towards being a title-winning squad. And again, if you look at all the previous title-winning squads, what do they have? They have a strong goalkeeper, they have reliable centre backs, they have a great DM that's able to defend that back four, they have a lead creator, and then they have a goal scorer up front. And if you go through the span of our team, we don't have any of those things. We spent I don't know how much on Kepa on a 7-year contract. He's not reliable. Mendy had a great first 12 months. Since then, it's been a bit shaky. The defense, we'll talk about it.
Well,
we don't have one.
Bit,
We haven't got a lead creator, and who's our goal scorer? So like so many massive issues, and it's just frustrating that we have to sit here and watch it 2 times a week and know what's coming and still be disappointed that it's not the standard that Chelsea should be at.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you guys, and I said this to someone yesterday after it, but I felt this for a while. I've never disliked a squad so much in my life. Like, actually dislike. Like, I do not like this squad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sounds so bad to say that as a Chelsea fan, but because they don't care, I don't care about them. And when they play like they keep playing, and I keep saying Potter can't get away with the team playing like it is, where they just do not try. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yesterday was weird because when Joao Felix was on the pitch and whatever, I don't think we looked atrocious. Certain areas of the game where we just look shit because unfortunately none of them can all play well in one game. There's always one part of a position that just doesn't look right. It just happens. Yeah. But, it was, you could see something to a degree, but still, I mean, Alex, go on, mate. What are you going to say?
I mean, Man City was embarrassing. But it was Man City. So at least we could say, do you know what? We've lost to a decent team. We've actually lost to a half-decent team. And even if we're bad, they're an unbelievable side. So maybe it was just them. Maybe it was just Guardiola. He just, I don't know, he outwitted Potter, whatever it was. I mean, fucking Fulham. I mean, I've never been to Fulham away. The atmosphere wasn't great, if I'm being honest with you. I was told after the game, I was messaged by a lot of people. I was told it was probably the most toxic away Chelsea atmosphere they've ever seen. A full stop Chelsea atmosphere. I mean, we were chanting about Thomas Tuchel. We were chanting about Roman Abramovich. I had that sense of pride in a way because I'll be honest with you, I kind of wanted to do it, but I couldn't, because it's not going to help. It's not going to help the situation. And I completely get it. And I think if there's one positive we can take from at least doing that, it will show, Bowley in the short term, fuck me. I mean, you've really, really dug yourself a bit of a hole here with Potter and the whole situation. But we have to work with what we have, and we're not going to get any new owners anytime soon. So we have to think, right, how can we take the positives out of this? And the best example is Arsenal. We just have to say, maybe it is a case that it's not going to be a great season, a great couple of seasons, but we've seen what Potter can do in the past. I'm still Potter in. I do not believe that everything is down to this man. I mean, Lewis said it himself in the fan cams. I agree that the old regime, I mean, we've spoken about it. Some of the decision making has been horrible. And it kind of goes under the radar, especially with the trophies we've been winning. You look at 2017, some of the signings we made. I think probably the only beneficial one was, we had Caballero who did okay for us. I think we have one or two. Rudiger, that's about it, So we really go down the list. People don't talk about some of the mistakes that were made because it was so long ago, but those problems are still there. And I do want to disagree with you slightly, Jem, because I don't believe Azpilicueta is a bad captain. I do believe that Jorginho is. I actually feel sorry for Azpilicueta because he doesn't expect to be playing in these scenarios. He shouldn't be playing in scenarios. That is not why they gave him a new contract to play in these situations. They gave him a new contract so that he could be one of the few leaders that we can have in that dressing room. Because you get rid of Dave, who the hell have you got? You got no character. So I actually thought it was okay to extend his contract. But at the same time, 100% we should have got another right back in because we should never, ever rely on Dave to play on that right-hand side. I actually don't know why we played the back three and played him as a wing back. We might as well play Chalobah because at least you're going to get more pace. So that confused me. And also, I also just want to defend Potter as well. Because although the decision-making hasn't been good, he has nothing to choose from. And we say, well, why don't you pick Chukwuemeka week in, week out? We've seen what can happen when you chuck young players in the deep end straight off the back. Even if they're good enough ability-wise, there is usually a reason they don't play week in, week out. I believe that it's probably...
Do you not think he set us up, then?
I think the players are rubbish, Jem. That's what I think.
No, but do you not think
whatever he tells the players... whatever he tells the players, they're useless. That's what I honestly think. We can give Koulibaly all the praise in the world for scoring the goal. We conceded 2, right? Defense absolutely rubbish. Our best player is 38 years old, Jim. 39 years old. It's a joke. It's rubbish. And when we look at Kovacic and we want to criticize him, I also believe that I do agree with the midfield. It's not good. But Kovacic's job has never been to create. Why are we asking him to do that now? Right? So he's been perfectly solid. He was pretty good in the World Cup, if you ask me. He's been one of our best players in the past few seasons. I agree with you, Joe. I agree he was awful. Yeah. But I don't think I don't think that he's one of the bad ones. I think that he's a player who needs creativity around him. We cannot rely on Kovacic to create. He's never, ever, ever, ever been that type of player. So why would we change our tune and expect him to do that? With Jorginho, it is at the stage where we think, bloody hell. We're just getting as much as we can out of this boy. And he's had some good performance. You were in Milan with me, Jem. I actually thought Jorginho was the man of the match in that game. So there is quality at times. But unfortunately, when he's not up to par, the team can't carry him. Right? We cannot be carrying players. We haven't got Kante with the legs. So, there's so many issues. For me as well, one of the things I actually find fascinating is how much people criticize Matt. And I actually notice a lot of the time I don't think about it because he's a ghost. He's invisible. And obviously when you don't see these players, you don't notice how bad they are. Yeah, I mean, I always going on Havertz. I think he's a disgrace, personally. I think that, at least with Mount, sometimes I've seen some intention, but I saw some of the clips of, the pass to Felix. I didn't actually see that during the game. That made me realise, my God, we're missing creativity. But I don't actually think, for the most part, most of the season with Potter, it's been a lack of effort. I can agree with the game yesterday and obviously Man City as well. That's true. But I think we're just rubbish. And that is pretty blunt. It's pretty blatant. If you look at our stats and say that these teams on paper are better than half of the teams mid-table, I really can't get behind that. I really can't. A lot of the players in Fulham are just better than what we have. Brentford have better players at the moment than we have in our starting 11. They do. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if we're talking about our injury list, it's different, okay? I'm not saying that Sterling and all these players, right, we know they're good, but they're not available. We don't have those players to work with. This is why I feel bad for Potter, and a lot of the people I speak to feel the same way, because I would say at the moment it's probably a 70-30 split. 70% of the fans I speak to are still Potter in, 30% don't like him. Because he is working with useless players. They're just crap. They're absolutely rubbish. And it's awkward for me as well, Jem, because funny enough, we slate Mount every week. I have to go and fucking sit next to his parents at Chelsea. I sit next to them. So it's pretty awkward when I walk down and I see Tony and, give him a little head nod. He don't want to speak to me, but I want them to play well. I would love Chelsea Fan TV to come across in a positive light. We're back in the team. We're back in the club. How can you back players that have no backbone? You said it yourself, Jen.
That's the issue for me. It's the backbone. It's the mentality. It's the bottle. It's like sometimes I watch them and I'm like, have they ever trained with each other? Like, they can't even do some of the basics sometimes. And I'm just like, they can't string 2 or 3 passes together quickly and get themselves up the pitch quick enough, because it just breaks down, or someone does the opposite and goes sideways. Like, we bang on about Havertz. Yeah, Mason Mount yesterday, Joao Felix gives him the ball. He picks it up, right? And Joao Felix is beaten the right back of Fulham. He's free. He's got space in front of him. He either plays it to him, plays it to Havertz, who's making the run the other way. So he's creating space on the other way. You got Joao Felix behind him, but he decides to pass it right to Aspilicueta. And then slows us down again.
You don't laugh, you'll cry.
You're 100% right, Jem. But I think also a lot of it with these players who, again, I think, like Alex said, a lot of them just aren't good enough. It's also a lack of confidence now. And these guys are literally on the floor, because I've been saying for a while, we've been playing terrible football now for 12, 13 months. Pretty much since we beat Juventus 4-0, when obviously Chilwell got injured. Like, since then, I can count maybe on one hand how many performances I think are worthy of being Chelsea level. And when you're playing in that football for such a long time and you're almost used to playing such terrible football, you naturally feel like maybe I don't want to play that pass, because I have not been making that pass consistently in recent weeks. And that's also got to a lot of these players who, again, for me, aren't good enough for Chelsea, but now they're playing even below what their capability is.
I agree. Look, we're going to do player ratings next. We'll get into that as well. I get bored of doing player ratings, especially of recently, because it's just the same. I end up repeating. You might as well just watch the last 7 shows and just put me on repeat. It's exactly the same thing. Literally, that's what it feels like. But there's only 500 people on Chelsea Fan TV right now. So big up to every single of you guys that are currently tuned in here as well. GNA TV fans as well, make sure that we get these likes up, please, and subscribe over there as well. It's close the gap to like 150, 200 likes minimum. I mean, 200 likes is easy for Chelsea Fan TV. Come on, it's 500 of you here. Let's get that done. On GNA, let's try and get to 150, please, as well on that if we can. And let's tackle the game yesterday specifically and talk about what we saw, the players. Where do we start? And I mean, I'll start, and then you guys can go from there. He's not a number one. He's, in my opinion, just not really. I mean, he could be a second goalie. I just don't.
I think he's a great number 2. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I'll give you an example, right? The Man City game at home, the last Premier League game we played, we kind of lost that game, in my opinion, because of him. Because why did he not stick his arm out and go for that ball? I don't get it. Yeah. And on this one, all right, we went down to 10 men. Yeah. Why the hell did he come out that far when he knows he's small and he's got short arms and he's not getting that ball? Why not just stay on your line? At least give yourself a chance to try and say, why did you just make it 10 times easier for them to just header it in the back of the net? Like, it was just not good. for me. And 3. Do you know what? 3 because of that, to be honest. I mean, we probably would have lost anyway. Don't get me wrong, when we went down to 10, I was not confident after Joao Felix got sent off, but he's just not good enough for me. He just isn't. Him, Mendy, I don't know. It's another area that maybe we sort out down the line. Someone said T-Rex arms. Yeah, it is. It's like watching that. He done something in the first half where he should have saved it, but he fumbles it. Yeah. And then kind of nearly passes it to the striker. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Silva bailed him out.
Yeah, and Silva out. And do you know what was bad? I put a comment out as well. I said, Silva's sitting in the middle of a bunch of clowns in that first half. All of them. All across the defence and the goalie. It was awful. Absolutely awful. But, yeah, 3, 2, whatever. I mean, forward, what are you saying?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I even disagree with the fact that you guys say he's a good number 2. I think he is a number 2, but not the goalkeeper, though. I think he's just a big number 2, and you guys know what I mean. Like, for me, I've never been a big fan of him. Again, you see some of the revisionism of people that after a good game against Villa and a couple other decent games, they're like, oh, Kepa's back. He's reformed. Oh, he's engaged now, so he's mentally stable. He's going to be a fantastic goalkeeper. All this nonsense. It's like, guys, where are the standards, people? We've watched great goalkeepers like Petr Cech, Thibaut Courtois, Carlo Cudicini. I could go on, and yet we've got this guy here, and people are making all the excuses in the world. I just don't rate it. And again, people may not like Mendy because he's not been in great form, which I agree with, but he saves probably both goals that we conceded against Man City and again the one yesterday from these crosses, because he actively comes out and will try and sweep up and get to crosses. And with Kepa, again, if you come out, you have to get it. If be decisive and at least stay on your line, because if he stays on his line, he actually makes the save. It wasn't a great header from Vinicius, but it makes the mistake, cost us the game. And yeah, I'm giving people very low ratings, so he's getting a 2. And yeah, the bar isn't high for these lot right now. It's really not.
No, I can agree with that as well. And but I will just say, I think Mendy and Kepa are opposites. I think, Mendy would have saved them, but he probably would have given the ball away, trying to distribute from the back as well. So, what Kepa's good at, Mendy's not. What Mendy's good at, Kepa's not. I mean, we need a key keeper who's got both. So we've basically got Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They're just not good enough.
Yeah, 100%. This is just stressful, honestly. Every time, even when I look at their faces, I just get stressed. Oh,
Koulibaly. Koulibaly. Why not?
I'm going to do Koulibaly first because people were screaming for Badiashile to play, and I've kind of pulled away from it and been like, well, no, I don't think it's a good idea to throw him in a Premier League game just yet. And, Koulibaly, even though he's not been great, I don't think he's been as bad as many people make him sound, but yesterday, he couldn't even put a pass together. He was kicking the ball out. His passing was poor. He just looked lost, if I'm honest opinion. I was not impressed with him one bit. He scored. I mean, and on top of scoring, he had the whole goal and he kicked it straight at the goalie who was in the net anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just was not good. I mean, none of them were really, but he's meant to be experienced. He's meant to be one of the older ones. You'd think he'd have leadership qualities and things like that. But I don't know. With Koulibaly. I mean, forward, you're saying?
Yeah, listen, man. Koulibaly was one of the summer signings that I was actually quite hopeful for. Again, big experience, has played at a high level, been great for his country. Gives me the vibes that he's a leader. But I don't know if I don't know who this Koulibaly is. It's crazy to me. And we can state people for their ability, things that they do in a game for sure, but his mentality on the pitch is just very bizarre to me, because this is a guy who, again, I thought was a leader, but he almost seems scared to make certain tackles. He's very rash. His decision making is almost that of somebody who's nervous, oh, I'm at a new league. It's almost like he's playing like a youngster stepping up to this level. Whereas no, you've played in the Serie A for a long time, which is a good league. It's not like it's a Mickey Mouse league. It's almost a decent league. You're stepping up to the Prem, okay, cool, but that shouldn't be something that should phase somebody as experienced as him. And again, just some of the weighting of his passing, it just feels like he's always rattled whenever he has to make a decision. And even a little thing that people didn't realize, but again, the Felix red card, terrible tackle, cool, but why did he have to take that terrible touch? It's because Koulibaly fired a ball at him from 15 yards that he didn't need to do. That was just a simple 15-yard pass. You can play it on the floor, you can control, turn, drive with the ball. But now you fired it at him at knee height. He miscontrols it, and obviously what happens. So yeah, cool, you scored, whatever, but Koulibaly, bro, you're meant to be a leader in this team, and you're one of the biggest problems at the moment in the team. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to give him a. I have to give him a 1.5, man. Like
As he
is
looked
not
to
good
you,
enough for somebody at
as he
this
looked,
level.
yeah, as he looked to you, Alex, from seeing him in vision.
He looks scared. He looks
Yeah.
scared. It just, but it's also, this is where it's also difficult for him, right? Is when you're playing with other players who are just as useless as you are. I mean, it's just all over the place, and he's trying to pick out those passes. He's got a right foot, he's got a left foot as well. He can pass with both sides, but he tries to pass forward, but there's no intention. It's just getting it up there, and then you playing the same thing. He's scrambling back. I can't see a future for him. I mean, you're what, 31 years old. We can't exactly develop in long term. He's on a big contract. He's not going to leave. We're going to have to live with it, as far as I'm concerned. Koulibaly is another piece of poor business, but at the same time, we had to buy him, didn't we? So this is one of those risks.
I agree.
I agree with what Forward said. I mean, the Serie A is a good league, but it's also slow, and the way teams play, the way they sit back and they have that cover in front of them, especially the defenders, because they don't tend to press as much. That helped him. And I actually thought he played quite well in the home game against Man City. I actually think he was all right in that game. But yeah, ever since then, it's been hopeless. I thought we could maybe build on that. But no, it's just a lost cause as far as I'm concerned. There's no long-term plan for Koulibaly. I mean, Jem, if you're a manager, what are you going to do? Are you going to put your trust in him next season?
I just think, again, it's one of them ones where, like, he will be here. Yeah, at the end of the day, we only just bought him, but it's like, how do you utilize him, and how much more better does this squad get? I'm hoping it does. It has to get better. We have to improve in positions. We have to be stronger. But we've got Badiashile in now. Silva can't keep playing eventually, even though I wish he could play another 5 years. He's going to have to be utilised, and he's going to have to step up and find that form. Otherwise, he's going to be all right. He's just not going to last. But I don't know. I mean, the one that I do feel sorry for is this guy. And obviously, his wife come out again and said if he had Thiago Silva in the midfield and in the forward line, that you'd see a better performance pretty much. She's spot on, in how she felt, But, he just digs us out, doesn't he? There was one, even when we were 1-0 behind, the ball lands right in the box. We're all staring at it. And then, waiting for a Fulham player to tap it in. And who comes up and kicks it out? Thiago Silva, I feel sorry for him, because I look at him and even he just looks pissed off and stressed. And he's still playing with his, heart on his sleeve like he always does, and trying. And, I don't know. It's just I regret the day. I'm regretting the day he leaves. The day and he might be soon. He might be like, do you know what? Get to summer. He might be like, fuck this. I can't keep playing in this. This is killing me. He's 40 now. This guy still wants to win trophies. He's a leader. He's a winner. He's got passion. He's got all these things that all our players lack. All of them. He has all of that. And he's a dying breed for me. He's a complete dying breed of player. It's just I don't know. But I even give him a rating because he's always great to me, to be honest. But just quickly want to read this donation out from Soham. He says, players are terrible and deserve to go, but even then, Potter would make us play like City/Arsenal, improve med team, appoint director of football, sell players, change manager, make top signings in that order. Okay, big up to you. Thank you for the donation as always on that one as well, brother. Forward, what are you saying?
Oh, Monstro, bro. Like, if there's anybody that I can at least rely on to at least look like a Chelsea level player, it's him. And it's crazy because he's 38 years of age. I thought he would be like on his last legs by now going into the season, but he's still performing. Again, even yesterday wasn't his best game. I feel like his passing maybe wasn't at the level that we expect or that we're used to seeing, but still like the only like just reliable player in that team. And it's quite frustrating that it has to be a 38-year-old who should really at this point just be a supplementary player to what we have. So I'll give him a 6. But what I do want to hear from you guys and also everybody in the comments as well, like what do you think of his wife constantly putting out these they're not cryptic, they're quite open in the fact that she's out in the players, like his teammates, even like it seemed like even the previous tweet before when she was talking about how sometimes you make a bad decision with the wrong attitude or whatever, it's not too late to go and change it. Like, was that a cry for help to go get Tuchel back? Like she's moving kind of crazy in it. So I don't know what you guys think of it, and maybe you think maybe there could be like a player upheaval coming up soon, because it's crazy to see somebody speak that loudly about it. And again, PSG fans that I know, they warn me about this. Like Bella's not afraid to speak her mind, and she's definitely been talking that talk lately.
Go on, Alex.
No, I think it's good that she's digging out the players, because it's refreshing to know that we're not deluded. We are seeing the same thing that everyone else is seeing. With the manager, though, I actually understand it. I get her point of view. I mean, especially being Thiago Silva's missus, like she wants him to win. And in the short term, we were more likely to win with Tuchel. I mean, potentially we could have maybe got something out of the FA Cup or a Carabao Cup, or even we're still in the Champions League. Maybe even get something from that competition. Unlikely, but possible with Tuchel. I mean, we've done it before, right? With Potter, we all knew that it was going to be a struggle, but we have that long-term hope. But I don't think the Silvers are particularly worried about long-term, because he's only got a year or two left. So that's probably where the frustration's lying. But unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do. We can't cater just for Thiago Silva. We have to cater for Chelsea Football Club, and what's best for him isn't necessarily best for us. And we're doing. I think we're doing the right thing. I do want to say that just on the record, I don't believe we should have sacked Tuchel, but we didn't sack him for footballing reasons, which is why I can't be as angry, because I get that this wasn't on a footballing side. This was internal. This is something that happened, a higher level. So listen, if Potter gets the time, if he gets the players, if he's able to clear up shop, I do believe that we can certainly be playing much better football next season, and hopefully Silva stays for that. But yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't blame him if he left.
Yep. We are going to move on to Trevor Chalobah next. But in the meantime, guys, please make sure that we're smashing the likes and subscribing. As always, we have 470 people on Chelsea Fan TV with 106 likes, guys. Come on, we can get more likes in that. Let's close that to 200. On GNA TV, we've got 323 likes. How does that work out?
Damn.
Jesus.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, GNA TV, big up to you guys. 324 likes over there as well. That way it makes sense. There's only 120 of you there. So I don't know how I've got 324 likes, but yeah, big up to everyone over there. Let's tune in over there. Come on, Chelsea Fan TV. Close the gap to GNA TV likes. You should be doing more than that, than my channel, man. Come on. 300 likes minimum. Let's get that done. Right, Trevor Chalobah. I'm just going to say it like this. He had a poor game this day. He was not good by any means. However, the way some of these fans move on him and make it sound like, oh, I told you he's not good enough for the club. Have you forgot how good he actually has been this season, how consistent he has been this season? Like, when he's had good games, no one talks about it. It's like nothing. Yeah, but when he has a bad game, it's like, oh, my God, this is why he shouldn't be playing. Like, yeah, he wasn't good yesterday, and I get that. But equally, he's not a problem for me. Like, obviously, that performance was a problem, and it weren't good. But we've seen good performances from Chalobah. We've seen consistent performances from Chalobah. Like, let's not, let's not act like he's a bad player overnight, in my opinion. But again, like everything says, he's playing with players that are just not up for it, not been up for it for a while, even when he hasn't been in the team. And even when he was dropped when he shouldn't have been dropped, in my opinion, for others. So, I don't know. I just feel it's a bit harsh. He had a bad game. I'll give him a 0. It was not good, don't get me wrong. But I just think people just jumped the gun with Trevor Chalobah, in my opinion. But go on forward.
Yeah, I mean, I've already given him a 1, and I think that's even being generous as well. But I do find the discourse around Trevor Chalobah quite revealing in terms of what people just people's general perceptions on the game. Like, again, it's very reactionary to say that, oh, he's not good enough now. I told you so. This, that, the other after one terrible game. Again, the one against Man City, he was at right back, so I kind of give him some allowance there. That yesterday was shocking, bro. It was shocking, and it's also upsetting to see because we actually highlighted before, Jem, in previous streams that aerially he's not the best and he needs to improve on that. And even after the Brentford game where we got a draw, he was very good that game. I think we both gave him man of the match. He was great aerially. Yeah. I remember in the Champions League game following that, I think at home against, I believe, Zagreb. I remember he was winning aerial duels. He was getting onto headers from corners. It looked like he had turned the corner from that because aerial duels generally has been a big weakness of his in the past. And unfortunately for us and the team, it reared its ugly head again yesterday. And there were a couple of poor headers that led up to the first goal that he could have dealt better with. Remember, one was that led up to a Decordova Reed shot that hit the bar in the first half, and then obviously the one he should have cleared before Willian scored. But then after that, again, like most of the team, his performance crumbled after that. And again, that is not Chelsea mentality. And obviously, he needs to buck up his ideas because he can't be doing that. Again, as much as I like him as a player, one of the few players that I do like in this squad, you can't fold under pressure like that when you make a mistake. This is Chelsea Football Club, and you've got to be better than that. So obviously, we're hoping he bounces back.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Chalobah's one of the players that you can give the benefit of the doubt because we've seen what he can do. And, he's just signed a long-term deal. He loves the club. Every player has these types of games. So it wasn't a good performance. But no, I can't be too angry. Well, I just want to highlight, when I say the players aren't good enough, obviously I don't mean every single player. But I am talking about the majority.
I agree 100%. Let's quickly jump on to the wing back, shall we? Because we played a 3-4-3. Let's talk about Lewis Hall. I don't think he had a great game yesterday. No. Equally, again, is it just the fact that we're just so rock bottom in the mud and there's no leaders, no spine, and everyone and we're relying on youngsters to come in and kind of push us to go? And I don't know. I like Lewis Hall. I actually think he's a good player. I really do. I just don't think it was a good game for him yesterday, but it's nothing more than that for me. In the Man City game away, I think he just got exposed because of the way we set up. We left the left flank so open. We had no left midfielder, and he had Walker and Morris to deal with on his own. So, these are things that I don't blame him on. But yesterday's performance in a position where he's more comfortable, I would say, as a wing back, and he can get forward and whatever else, even though he did in some points and linked up okay. I don't know. He also gave the ball away and got caught positionally as well and stuff. So I'd probably give him a 2 or 3 on that one. But yeah, forward, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'll probably just lean to giving him a 3 because he at least kept going despite some of the mistakes that he made in the game. I do like Hall as a player. I think left wing back suits him because he gets forward quite well. He's quite positive, which I think is what we need in those wing back areas because, again, on the other side, we don't get any sort of directness. Obviously, we'll get onto that. But obviously, just again, he made the mistake leading up to the first goal. He's getting opportunities to score chances, which again you want him to take because those are big positions. Again, after the Havertz shot in the first opening minutes, he really should be scoring from that opportunity, and it's not the first time that he's missed a big chance. Remember, he missed a good one against Newcastle, also against City in the Carabao Cup. So he does need to brush up his ideas there because, again, I'm not a big fan of Alonso, but Alonso tucks a lot of these chances away, So
yeah,
he certainly got to buck up his ideas there, and I'll just give him a 3.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, again, very very difficult to play in the team that we played in yesterday. I think it's just harsh to pile all the blame on an 18-year-old. I mean, this is why I am not that unhappy about not playing Chukwuemeka, because I believe when younger players get these runs in struggling teams, it can damage their confidence. And that's one of the things that could potentially be happening with Lewis Hall. But the reason we have to play him is because we're just hopeless. I mean, and obviously Cucurella can't play every game, so you are forced to rotate. So yeah, I mean, again, it's similar to the Chalobah situation. I can't really be angry at him, but no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Yeah, I agree. Let's move on to Azpilicueta quickly before we go into the midfield. I'm just going to be really quickly with this because I agree with what Alex says in terms of he's kind of being forced to play to a degree because we haven't got options and shouldn't really be starting games and whatever. I agree with all that, but injuries don't help. But when he is playing, it's just so bad for me. He can't go forward because he's just not got the legs. He can't pass. He struggles to pass these days. Defensively, he's just not the Aspie that we've accustomed to knowing him to be. Again, maybe for legs and playing against players who are a lot more stronger, quicker, and whatever. But we're just so unbalanced and weak. And part of it is to do with our wing. For me, is our wing back. It's an issue, and it's just I I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore of Azpilicueta. It's just he's on a hard decline. So for me, 1-0. I have nothing more to say, to be honest. Forward.
Yeah, no, performance-wise, it has to be a 0. Like it just has to be. But I refuse to say another bad word about Azpilicueta because again, he's been a great servant for the club. He's a legend. Won every trophy available. So and for me, I think he is a good captain. Maybe not the most vocal or anything, but I think he has led the club quite well. But ultimately, his legs are just gone. Like he can't do what he used to do. And I think maybe even his head's kind of gone a bit as well because let's not forget he wanted to leave in the summer. Like he didn't want to stay here. And Bowley and Tuchel pretty much forced him to stay. Like they said, no, you're going to stay. They gave him a 2-year contract. And again, it made absolutely no sense. And again, this is another legacy of the previous board and their mistakes because we saw that Reece James was showing signs of being injury prone. And yet we kept Azpilicueta, who plays right back / right wing back, universally different to how Reece James plays it. So to keep him in the squad and not go for like a Kyle Walker-Peters or any other backup, Pedro Porro, whoever you want, like that was a massive mistake. So again, it's hard to blame Aspie because it's not his fault. He didn't want to be here, but now he's getting cooked by Willian, So
it's bad when you're getting cooked by Willian. Willian actually looked like he'd come into our team quite nicely from what I saw yesterday.
To be fair, he's actually having a good season. Like he flopped at Arsenal. It looked like he was kind of finishing Corinthians in Brazil, but he's had a pretty good season. And Fulham in general are having a good season, so I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Do you also remember how the fan base used to criticize how bad William was? Comparing to what we have now.
It feels like it was just yesterday, but I mean, absolutely, he walks into this team because he's got individual quality that a lot of attackers don't have.
100%. Alex?
Yeah, I just feel bad for Dave. To be honest, I just feel bad for him. He shouldn't be playing, and I said it before earlier in the stream. He wasn't brought. He didn't get given the new contract to play. It wasn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. A bit of rotation as you do, but that was not why he was meant to be in this team. He was meant to be in this team to be one of the leaders, to be one of the characters. It's important to have that. That's why John Terry stayed on that extra year or so when he wasn't playing under Conte. You just need a character in the dressing room at times. I mean, you get rid of Dave, you're stuck with Jorginho, and we can all agree his leadership is absolutely terrible. So at least there's some sort of positive we can take from it. But no, the quality is not good enough. Just the crossing ability isn't there. The pace isn't there. Very, very difficult to shine as a leader when you can't perform on the pitch. So, yeah, 0. But as I said, I cannot criticize Dave too much when I know he can do no more. I mean, he's literally being forced to play in a team that he's not capable of playing in.
I agree. Let's move on to the midfield, which is more of our pressing issues. And I want to just quickly talk about Zakaria, because obviously he got injured, which looks like it's quite a bad one as well. It looks like he's going to be out. Equally, in my opinion, he's been our best midfielder the last couple of games. Deserved to start. Physical. Still not 100% sure if he's Chelsea quality. I just think he's having some couple of good games. However, we look better when we have someone that's big, that's physical, that has a bit of pace, that can cover the grass. That, I don't know, and then he gets injured and it is what it is. But whilst he was on the pitch, wasn't his greatest performance. I think he had a better game prior to this. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it was I don't think he was the worst player on the pitch, might I say also as well. Probably a 4 for him, but losing him like the way we did and him being out now for probably a long time just screams we're in trouble even more. So I have not much more to say really. Forward, what you saying?
Yeah, to be fair, Zakaria has proved me wrong in terms of actually performing well in a Chelsea shirt. I didn't think he would actually do that, and he has done well. Again, it is all relative because I don't think he's Chelsea quality either. I think when he starts in our midfield, we don't build the same free midfield like we can with other players because he's not naturally making the angles to receive passes or playing with that kind of intent. He's not really that type of player. He's pretty much a Roman destroyer. So, but having said that, he is bringing the energy and athleticism to the midfield that it's good to see. It's good to see somebody that can physically impose themselves and bully players off the ball and get it back for us. So that is good, and I'll give him credit for that. And unfortunately, he's going to be a miss, which is crazy to say because I didn't think he'd have any impact on the team, but he will be missed for however long he's injured because our other midfield options right now are poverty. Absolute poverty. So yeah, I gave Silva a 6. I'll probably give Zakaria probably a 5 because I thought, again, other than the penalty shot which he almost gave away, I thought he was pretty good yesterday, man. So give him a 5.
You say, Alex, what do you think of Zakaria? Now he's out as well. I mean, Jesus, it doesn't get any easier, does it?
It's just pain, mate. Pain. Like, I mean, I was in the stadium and one of my mates went out for a drink and then he came back in and we said Zakaria is on the floor and he said, "Nah, you're joking." And then we pointed, he saw him on the floor and we just said, like, what are we doing? What are we doing this season? It's just unlucky. And no, he proved me wrong as well. I remember when I think he started against Zagreb at home. And I was saying to one of my mates, I was speaking to a Juventus fan, and they said he was absolutely rubbish at Juventus. So to be fair, I thought he'd be absolutely crap, but no, he's brought some character and some energy. He's actually got a bit of flair as well, and the quality seems to be there, especially in the Man City games that we've seen. So it's going to be a huge miss for us. And there's no saving this Chelsea midfield. No saving. Rest in peace.
Can I just add quickly? Sorry, can I just add? Sorry, Jim, just to add quickly before we move on to the next player. Again, well, obviously we'll get onto Potter and everything, and obviously what we're seeing right now certainly is not good enough for Chelsea. But there is the slight purposes that we need to put on it that we have now. Before last night's game, we had 16 more injuries than any other team in Europe's top 5 leagues, and that's before Zakaria got injured. So that we're sustaining an incredible amount of injuries, and it is obviously going to affect any manager. It would affect any team. So we do have to understand that a little bit, and again, give Potter some credence to what's going on right now. Like we have to allow him just a little bit because again, nobody under these circumstances would be doing great, So it is what it is.
I don't know if there's any mods in the Chelsea fan TV part. I've gone into it now, but there is some madness going in there. So I've had to time out someone just quickly just because of some of the things that they're putting in there. But come on, let's be respectful in there, guys, and be not say silly things, silly things in the chat, please, if you can. If you are there, please try and maintain the chat as a peaceful chat, please, if you can. Let's move away from Zakaria and let's move on to Mateo Kovacic. I've already said earlier on what I feel and think of him. Do you know what? I don't know. I don't know. It's weird because he's one of our most experienced players, and what he is good at doing, driving and progressing the ball forward, he's not doing anymore. All of a sudden, he's struggling to pass, gives the ball away. Defensively, doesn't offer anything. And I'm talking about this game. Defensively, didn't offer anything. He really was bad. It feels very weird to say Mateo Kovacic is bad because usually for his levels, he's usually, okay or great in my opinion, but. Yesterday, he's passing forward, which he couldn't do. It was awful, which I agree with Alex. He's not brought in the team to be a final third passer and be this creator like an Enzo Fernandez type or Fabregas, whatever you want to call him. He's not that. He just isn't that. He can break the play and move forward with the ball and whatever else. But yesterday, his whole overall game, even from the defensive point to maybe even what he is good at just, relieving pressure in the team. It just didn't even his head didn't look there, and we just the midfield was poor yesterday. I'm not even going to bring Jorginho in because he only came on for a couple of 20 minutes or 50 minutes of it. Even when he came on, he wasn't great. We know with the Jorginho, but 0. I was really, really pissed off with Mateo Kovacic. I'll be honest with you. What are you saying, Forward?
See, Jem, this is where it gets very, very, very techy because. Everybody else in the team pretty much performed to how I expect them to perform. Thiago Silva was good. Everybody else is kind of mid. It is what it is. But Kovacic is one of the few guys I actually rate. But if we're keeping it about, since the World Cup, he's been shocking. And it's not just because of performances, not just the forward passing, which again hasn't improved like it should really have for a guy who came from Real Madrid. But it's the mentality. And there's certain times where he gives the ball away or we're getting bypassed in the midfield and he's just walking back. And you can literally see him. I'm sure maybe fans in the stadium will see it even more, but you can see his body language and just the frustration that he has. And of course, it's a dead situation to be in right now. But you're one of the experienced guys in there. You got to be one of the leaders in there, and they almost feel like he's kind of checked out. And again, this is probably the first time that I've questioned whether it's worth keeping him in the summer because I'm hearing that maybe now he's entertaining offers from other teams, and if they come in and his head's not wanting to be here 100%, then maybe we should just get rid because. again, as good a quality player as he is, he's not giving what we need in the final third. He's not progressing the play enough. He's not getting our attacking players on the ball in the right areas enough, as bad as they are, which we'll get onto. But again, Kovacic, a player of his level, a player of what he showed at the World Cup, his level, he's not producing that enough in a Chelsea shirt, and it's very disappointing to see. So yeah, I'd for his level, I have to give him a 0. I have to give him a 0. Like, that's just not good enough for Kovacic.
Yeah, never. Any look to you, Alex?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm really interested with what Forward said, and when you put it like that, you're absolutely right. I mean, if we're building this team around Potter, if we're really going to trust him, we need to see what players fit into that system. Now, we know that Potter likes a team to have width. We know that he wants the midfielders to spread the play, to pick out those passes, to keep it fluid and fast. These are things that Kovacic isn't actually that good at. It's exactly the same with Jorginho as well. Now, we used to play in a much more compact system with Tuchel, and what this did was it gave Kovacic more options with the short pass because he would have more players around him in the middle. So yeah, if we are gonna back Graham Potter's style of play, and Kovacic doesn't fit into that for the rest of the season, then yeah, I have to agree. It probably is the best thing for him to go, because I heard there might be rumours he wants to leave regardless. I have to say I didn't really see the walking on the pitch. I probably just wasn't paying enough attention. But if that was the case, then yeah, that's not good.
Quickly, Piers released a comment on Twitter not long ago via the Telegraph. The basis is that Chelsea are conducting an official review of the club medical department. Well, I don't know what specifically that means. If it review, it might be how they're doing things, monitoring things. It goes on to say that Telegraph Sport can reveal that Chelsea players feel medical staff were sacked too quickly, and the ones that they trusted with their fitness are no longer at the club.
See, that's mad, because they were part of the issue of how many injuries we were getting before, and it's funny because we changed the whole medical stuff and the issues are still here. Like, we're still seeing players rush back from injuries.
Exactly.
We're still picking up crazy injuries like on a consistent basis. Like, so I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. It's just not good.
Yeah, this is why the name of this show is "This Football Club is a Mess." It's not just about the players. It's just everything. Injury, medical team, fucking bowling.
You see what Lewis has put in the chat? Fuck football. Who's watching Friday Night SmackDown?
Yeah. Mate, I'll tell you what, Lewis, some of these players need to go on that, get smacked down by the sounds of it, to be honest. WWE, you know. Lewis would love to pick Kai Havertz in the air and drop him on the floor and do a fucking frog splash on him, probably. Let's move on to the forward line. Let's talk about money, mate.
This is where it gets good, boys. This is where it gets good.
The creator, the greatest ever player. I'm going to stop. Anyway, listen. I like he's it's weird when I say this, because like it's hard to talk about Mason Mount because it's either one extent of people that hate him now and want him out, sell him, he's useless. The other side is like he's the greatest. But the truth is, I keep sitting in the middle with this, and I'm going to keep airing the same opinion that I have with Mason Mount, and it comes to the same thing as what I always say: is that as long as bad as this squad is, and until it improves, I'm not going to judge Mason Mount because he's one of the only players that will still be here. Let's be serious. And the thing is, as bad as his performances was yesterday and have been, and I'll be honest with you, his passing ability, his awareness to be able to look up and play it quickly, not good enough. He didn't. You know, there were some moments where he whipped the ball into Joao Felix at the back post, which was actually a good cross, and Joao Felix used his right instead of his left foot, and it was offside. Like, there was like little bits where he's good, and there's other bits where it's like, what are you doing? You know, and he's meant to help the midfield out as well. And I don't know, I just don't feel he's even doing them things, which he's usually quite good at doing as well. And the truth is, as the squad is in the mud. Yeah, none of them seem to be able to shake it off. You know, they're rock bottom in confidence, and until we improve the squad around us, and we start having a system and Potter starts implementing it, then the questions will be asked of Mason Mount, because then it will be, can he get in a team with better players or in and around him? Can he hold his position, and does he look better in that position? And if he does, and we end up seeing the Mason Mount that we saw at the beginning, or maybe even better Mason Mount, let's be serious, then yeah, then we can say, well, it's just he needs better players around, confidence, and now look, he's playing better. But if he can't, and he still continues struggling to do some of the basics that he's actually very good at doing and stuff, yeah, then questions need to be asked of him. I just think it's very hard to do now. And when you say get rid of him and sell him, who are you putting in for him right now? Who? Ziyech? Conor Gallagher? Is he doing well?
Chukwuemeka should be starting ahead of him right now.
Yeah, but it's not. Chukwuemeka plays off the left anyway. Mason Mount's more on the right or on the 8th row, isn't he? In theory, especially in the way that we set up. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. He was poor yesterday. I'll give him a 1, maybe even a 0. Whatever you want to give it, I don't care. But he wasn't good yesterday. However, he's not going anywhere. And he was one. If I'm right, Alex, you were there. He's one of the only players that clapped the fans, from what I've been told. Everyone else fucked off. That's what I've been told anyway.
There was like 4 or 5, to be fair. I think people were a little bit harsh. Koulibaly came over, to be fair. Lewis Hall came over. Silva. I think 1 or 2 others. But yeah, Mason Mount came over. I mean, my opinion on him is very simple. And this is where, for me, I am more lenient towards him than, let's say, Kai Havertz. Because I've actually seen Mason Mount do things in a Chelsea shirt consistently. I've actually seen it with my eyes. He can get 10 goals. He can get 10 assists in a season. He can be consistent. And this is where I actually just give him a little bit of a free pass this season. Now, I'm not saying he should start, but I'm also not saying that we should slate him, because I believe that he can pick it up. I believe that if you've been good enough over the past couple of years, which I think has been one of our best players, we can all agree on that. Sometimes you just can have a little bit of a drop off. I think it happens to most players at some point in their career. This just happens to be that season. And, let's be honest, he's not playing with a great team, so it doesn't make it any easier for him. So, he needs to pick up his game. But, I mean, we talk about Potter dropping him as well. For me, I thought at the beginning of the season, Gallagher and Mount would be a nice rotation. But from what I've seen with the 2 of them, it's who can be worse. I don't see anything better from Gallagher. And Ziyech isn't going to give you any energy. I mean, Chukwuemeka, we already know what I think about him. Putting him straight into the squad, is that the best thing for his development, just to play week in, week out? So, it's kind of, it's just one of those situations for me where he has to earn that contract. There's no way you're going to get 250 a week playing like that. Forget 300. 300's out of the question. If he doesn't perform next season, that's make or break for his contract, because if this continues, then you shouldn't re-sign. You're not of the quality we need.
My argument with Mason Mount is that a season ago, or even a season before that, no one in this chat would be talking about getting rid of him. Now he's having a bit of a dip. He's shit. This is his natural level. I'm not saying Winter Surfer specifically. I'm just talking from what I'm seeing in the chat. Now it's, get rid of him. We don't need it. He's not good enough. Is that like we do, unfortunately, as fans, live in the now too much. It's like we forget everything else. Now. He's crap. He's not good enough. Get rid of him. But then we forget the other parts of it. And I'm not his massive. Do you know what's mad about it? I'm not even his biggest. I'm not his massive fan. I'm not Mason Mount. It's like, oh my God, he's God. I'm not. I just don't understand why we're so reactionary on what we see in the now so much. And it's not good from what we see him equally. And I agree with it. And I agree with what Alex is saying. He will have a blip, especially in a squad that's just awful anyway, with all the injuries and everything that's going on at the moment. But equally, I think we could, to say he's at his level when we've seen what he has done, under Tuchel and stuff, and how he's played and been pretty consistent at a period, I think it's very harsh to just be like out, in my opinion. But forward, what are you saying?
The great Mason Mount debate. I mean,
it's horrible.
Yeah, no, it's just there's been so much this discussion about this guy, and it's so polarizing. There's so many different ways you can tackle it. Again, just limited to just yesterday. Again, I thought he started the game off well. Of what, like most of the team, we looked pretty good in those first 20 odd minutes, at least offensively, before obviously we conceded. And then obviously, like for me, again, I put out a whole tweet of, when we go behind, who's going to be able to conjure up a moment of magic to bring us back into the game? Who's going to be able to do anything? And I look at the attack and I don't really see that outside of maybe Felix. But fair play to Mount, that was a very audacious free kick and he almost scored from it. And that is essentially what created the goal. So I'll give him huge credit for that. But again, outside of that, like it's more of what we've seen of like this season, even parts of last season, despite obviously a good goal return, and even what we've seen in the England shirt. Again, let's not forget he got benched by a 37-year-old Jordan Henderson, like in that midfield. Like that's not what we should be. Again, that's Jordan Henderson benching him. And for us, he's our talisman, our main attacking player before Felix came. Like that's the levels that we're at right now, and that's not good. It's really scary. And I think for the first time in his career, because again, I agree with everything that you guys have said. Like he's been our best attacker for a long time, and whatnot. Like the best of a bad bunch. Also, you would give him the kind of like the allowance of playing not in his favored position, but I'm starting to remove those tags from him now because we've seen this form for me too long of a time for a player of his supposed quality. And then when it comes to the best position thing, like he's been playing as an attacker for the best part of 2-3 years now. So at this point, for most of your professional career, you're playing as an attacker. So I can't judge you as, oh, your best position might be midfield. No, you've got plenty of experience in this position, and you're not performing consistently right now. So now I'm starting to consider whether it could be time to look at moving him on, like because he might just want to sign the contract. I'm gonna be honest, bro. Like again, there's so many other problems other than him, so I can understand you saying that. Oh, but what about Pulisic or Ziyech or Havertz? We still got to move on Lukaku, etc., etc. I get that. So from that standpoint, there's obviously bigger problems than him. But if he's demanding 300k, like what I'm hearing, and we're gonna continue to make him like our linchpin of our attack, I don't really know if that's what I want to see, bro. Because these performances are not moving me. They're not moving.
I don't think we should be making him the linchpin of our attack. I just think Mason Mount gets mixed up in the thing of like what we expect from him from fans. I think like people go, why is he not creating? Well, he's not actually a creator, even though he has done it, and we've seen parts of it of his game of doing it. He's not specifically a great creator. He's not a Cesc Fabregas type of player. Mason Mount for me has a bit of everything to his game, but to ultimately get the best out of him, and I keep saying it, I think he has to be in a system that works. And I keep saying it with a lot of these forwards. I think if you have a system that's ticking and it works and it has its players back and you have the balance, you probably see that the performance levels of these players are better. I just think we rely on certain players to just dig us out as if they're Eden Hazard, and they're just not Eden Hazard.
I do hear you on that, Jeb, but like for me, like again, I won't say he's not an Odegaard type of creator or even a KDB, but I think he's a bit similar to like a Bruno type. I don't necessarily rate highly, but you look at this season, you look at even the World Cup, Bruno's definitely outperforming him. And again, I look at Mount and like
Bruno's more of a creator, though, isn't he?
I think Mount in this team is kind of given the role as our lead creator again. He takes the set pieces. He's in the positions to be that creative player. Like
I agree.
So I feel like he's given out a lot of that responsibility, but he's not producing. And again, you might say he's not a natural creator, cool, but that's how we've been using him pretty much for the last 2-3 years.
True. We'll have to see.
And again, I don't agree with this. Like, cut more better than Mount. Okay, let's not go that far, guys. Come on. Like,
Willian, Henderson, Milner, Dele, Catamol, Mason Mount. I mean, that's Goayam being Goayam. Big up for you, though, for that donation. We've got another one coming from Sean Newlands that says, we'll never win the league if we build a team centered around Mount. He's not the guy. Someone whose best attributes is off the ball movement. But I don't think that is the case. I think we assume that we're going to do that with him. I just think what we're trying to do is play to the system that Potter wants. We just need better profiles in them positions, and then you throw in Mount. That's my point. And if Mount can't then fit in that system that Potter wants to play with better players, then have this talk. That's my thing with it. Like, I just don't think it's right now saying get rid of him when we're a shambles anyway, from top to bottom and in areas. And we know the areas that are more of an issue. So, Sean, big up to you. Thank you for the donation, as always. Let's go on to the new signing, Joao Felix, who a lot of people would say was the bright spark of the team yesterday and gave us something different. And say, look, I actually thought he did as well. You know, I thought his movement off the ball was good. His link-up play was decent. He had most. Now I'm going to sound like I'm being thingy, but he had most of our chances in that game and hit him straight at the goalie. You know, like, and it's not like I'm going to be too heavy on him, but then when I think of his assists at Atletico, when I think of his goals scored at Atletico, and he's only hitting 10 goals in 30 games, 40 games, and then I'm seeing that, and I'm like, oh, come on, like, is this why? Like, you're creating a lot for him, but, you know, he's hitting straight down the middle. I know it's still very early doors, but, like, I don't know. Like, he gave something to the team, is what I would say. He definitely gave something to the team. He's very quick. I didn't expect him to be that quick, in my opinion. However, what a silly boy to go and do a tackle like that. Like, I'm sorry, as much as they had a good game and people would argue he's our best player, we've now lost him for 3 games, and 20% of that loan that he's now here at Chelsea, that money that we paid, is now gone down the window because he's missing 20% of it, of the games that he's in. So we ain't going to see him for. We've seen him for 1 game, and now we're not going to see him for another 3 games on top of this because of that stupid tackle. Some people call it maybe an Atletico Madrid type sort of tackle because of how they play and whatever else. But look, he can't do that, and that was stupid. And part of the reason why he was signed and bought on this short term for 6 months was because of the issues we had with Raheem, the issues that we have for Pulisic. I still think that we don't sign him if they're fit, in my opinion. I don't think we look at Joao Felix, but he was bought in for this moment. And now we can't see him for 3 games. It equally leaves us back into position 1 again when we signed him thinking it would have solved a part issue for us. Now we've got an extra player up there. We've now not got him. So now we're back to square 1 for 3 games. So, like, it's stupid. I'm sorry. Good performance, I would have given him quite a high score, to be honest. But then he gets a red card and it pissed me off, to be honest, to a degree. I'll probably give him like, I'm not going to give him a 3 or a 2 because he wasn't that bad. He's probably our best player, but I'll probably give him a 5 just because of that stupid challenge. Like, I wasn't happy with that. I mean, guys, what was your thoughts? Maybe I'm being over the top, but I don't know. It's just the way that I'm looking at it moving forward and all the shit that we got. And, from what I saw of him, he gave us something, but now we're not going to blimmin' benefit from it, are we? Because he's done something stupid. Go on forward.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, bro. Like, I completely agree. It's a very good performance, very encouraging. Like, and for me, who's like very high on the aesthetics of football and just being actually entertained, because again, 90 minutes is a lot of investment time that you're putting into watching this team, even more so if you're traveling to games, etc. So I want to be entertained, and Felix, for the best part of the game until he got sent off, was entertaining me, which is nice. Obviously, you mentioned the fact that he had a lot of shots and he's not that prolific if you look at his numbers, and that is true. And that's why signing him as like our main attacker in a team that hasn't got a goal scorer right now, although I'm hoping Raheem comes back and solves that a bit with someone like Felix in there. I think that could be a good partnership. But of course, Felix now, it's not going to be ideal that he's like our main guy, go-to guy for goals, because he's never been that guy. And his best seasons came when he played behind Suarez in their title-winning season, and behind Severovic at Benfica. And again, Severovic, not a great striker. Suarez, his best days were behind him at that point. But yeah, they had some of their best seasons because they had a creator like him behind them. He was unlocking doors, like creating chances, like being a menace for defenders to handle. And that's what we saw a glimpse of yesterday. And that's why it was so depressing, bro. Like, the fact that we finally got somebody that entertains me and entertains the fans and gives us some sort of hope in a season that, for me, I've already written off. And then just as it's like, you know what? These next 5 months could be kind of fun. He goes and gets a red card. And it's like, bro, like, you just got to laugh at it. But I was just
Sakaria getting injured as well. You lose Sakaria and then you go and lose him. And it's like, really?
I mean, you just got to laugh. No, you just got to laugh. Again,
we're trying to go 2 steps forwards and we've gone 2 steps backwards. And it's just like, I can't. And yeah, he had a good game or whatever. But it's just kind of pissed me off.
It's mad. And I think, what is it? I think it cost us like 1.9 million euros, that red card, pretty much. Like,
and 20% of his loan. So we've got to pay him for 3 games now, which he can't play. And people keep forgetting this. He's not here for the long term. He's here for the short. And he's here for 6 months. And he's got 6 months to show us what he can do in this league and if he can be consistent and stuff.
Good pretty big wage as well. So
I'll be honest with you. We saw this with Raheem Sterling in his first game. And I thought, wow, blimey, no, at Everton, if you remember, I think we even lost that game as well. But he was a standout. He was unbelievable. And then what after a couple of games? Even he fizzed off slowly. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Now we're not going to see that. But Alex, you were there. You saw him. Did he give us? He obviously gave us something from what I saw from the camera. He looked a lot more sharp. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, really, really sharp. Willing to actually take a player on and then actually have some final quality with the pass. Not quite got that finishing touch, but you've got to give him the benefit of the doubt, I suppose. He's only been here for a day, so hopefully it will come good later on. But I was actually really surprised in the fan cams how many people were really positive about him, because I was just like you, Jem. I was frustrated with the red card, but a lot of people seem to overlook the red card. and just focus on the quality he brought to our attacks when he was on the pitch. And the phrase that we heard many times was, he did more in 60 minutes than most of our players have done in God knows how many games. And they're not wrong, to be honest with you, because he actually had the intention to make things happen. And to be honest with you, I think a lot of our players have that intention, but they're just not good enough at the top end of the pitch. And he brings us that quality. I don't know why we didn't have an option to buy in the clause. To me, that's just a weird deal. It must be a Bowley deal. I mean, Christian Vivel or whoever deals with the transfers, surely you wouldn't be doing that. I mean, you've got to know what you're doing. So for me, it makes no sense. Obviously, it was an emergency signing, but he signed a new deal with Atletico, but at least give us the option, even if it's 100 million, the buyout clause. Yeah. If he's good enough, spend the money. I mean, we need
even
players.
First refusal, that would be decent. Like,
absolutely, so that is, it's an interesting one. A lot of people said he gave Hazard vibes. I'm not sure about that.
No. This is the one. These are the fans that suck Felix off and play FIFA too much. That's who that is.
No, I don't believe that, because I mean the thing about Hazard is from what I saw, he'd have a lot of moments of magic and dribbling. But he wouldn't actually take that many shots, Hazard. When I used to go and watch, he'd have one or two, but he was a little bit quieter than what I saw from Felix from that particular game. But hopefully, when he does come back, he can be some form of positivity, because I can't see us getting points against Palace. I can't see us getting anything against Liverpool. I mean, I'm just struggling to find any other creative outlets that I can see getting some end product. He seems like the only one, and obviously we can't choose him for the next few games.
No, and that's an issue, and that's the problem for me. He's gone and done something stupid, and now we're not even going to be able to see him for the next 3 games. So, you want to be excited about what you saw, but guess what? We ain't going to have that for 3 games, and he's only here for a short period. So, there you go. We move on from that, and Kai Havertz. Why did you do this to me, Kai, man? Why, Kai? Why? Just put the ball in the back of the net or something. The same shit as theory as what I saw with Mount getting the ball. I actually even put a tweet out after when he got the ball and Joao made that run again. It was like quite basic forward pass when he would have just been through, and he took the player on, and then I don't know what he did. He hit his shin and went out for a throw in, and I was just like, "You got to be joking me! I can't believe he did that." I was like, "What is that?" Even I looked at it. I was like, "Nah, mate, that ain't good enough." I don't know what to say with Kai, because equally I think the same things, and I always stick to what I feel when it comes to Kai with what I think he possesses. And like, you play him in a system, if there is one, in a position where I think it is a 10, and I keep saying it, and you play him there consistently in a system with players that are actually balanced and works, then I think you probably see that he's a better player. But when you're playing him as a hold-up number 9, running in behind, trying to hold balls up and doing things, and then on top of that, he don't score goals as well, which is a problem. He's just dropping stinkers left, right, and centre, and it's just, I don't know. Even his confidence looks shot to bits. If you're honest opinion, it has done for a while. It's just not been the same. And maybe you're right. Maybe he needs to go in the summer. Maybe he goes on to whoever we can sell him to for 40-50 million, because I think we still get that for him, in my opinion, for his age, in Germany. And he goes on and does whatever he does, whether it's a Bayern or wherever. I don't know. But at Chelsea and how we are at the moment, I don't think we're equipped enough to have a player like him in it. And I just don't think it's suiting him. And I think he's even looking really bad and not good and whatever. And I don't know what more to say, is what I'm going to say with Kai Havertz. People can say he's just not good. He has no ability. I disagree. I don't think he does not have no ability, in my opinion. I just think he's another one with confidence. He's a confidence player, and he needs to be played in a certain way and in a team that's obviously playing okay and not playing like it is at the moment, rather than being relied upon as the person, again, like Mason Mount, that should be like doing this and doing that. I get it costs us 80 million, but I don't think he's that. So it is what it is when it comes to Kai Havertz. I mean, forward. Go on, mate. What you got to say?
Listen, Jem, before I cook this fraud, yeah, I just got to ask you one question, bro.
Thank
I
you.
got to ask you one question, Jem. Like, is there an update on this scarf? Like, where's the Havertz scarf, bro? Like,
That's it.
you bend it now.
I hid it.
Okay.
I hid it under the shirt.
Oh God.
He's in our record. He is in our books, our legend books, for scoring that goal in the Champions League final. He'll always be remembered as a great player at Chelsea, even if he goes down fighting. And look, it is what it. I can't stick up for him. I'm not even sticking up for him because he's been shit. I can't. I won't stick up for anyone that's been shit, and he has been shit. So it is what it is, isn't it? You know, like everyone else.
He absolutely has been shit. And listen, I don't necessarily enjoy slagging off players. Like, these are people at the end of the day, right? And again, they might not look like it, but I have to kind of give them, like, kind of assume that they're trying their best to a degree. Probably not all are, to be honest. But the thing is with Kai Havertz, more than just his ability, which I will get onto, but this was a guy, let's not forget, who was poor at the end of last season, was poor at the start of this season, but he scored, I think, a late goal against West Ham, I believe it was. And then he goes and shushes the home fans. Massive red flag doing that. And then in recent games again, poor, just so much bad decision making, not looking like he's been given 100%. Like a disgraceful decision in that Man City game to put up his hand like that, give away a penalty, threw the game away. You could see Potter was angry, which is why he hooked him off at halftime. And again, you're not going to clap the fans and whatnot, and then you go and give these BS apologies and blah blah blah. And it's like, even as a person, I don't know if I can really rate you like that, because it's like, again, this isn't the Chelsea that I grew up on in terms of the mentality of these sport players. Like, yeah, you scored a pretty big goal for us, sure. And again, no, you always will be a legend. Not a legend, sorry. You will always be remembered for that.
Legend.
Yeah, no, I had to catch myself there. Hey,
it'll go down in the history books.
It'll be remembered. That goal will be played forever and ever, and it was cool. Like, that's great. But that was one moment, and there's maybe been only like 2 or 3 other moments where you look like you were worth 85 million or whatever it is. And other than that, he's a fraud. And I'm sick of people defending him, saying that, oh, he's good technically, this, that, he's multifaceted, this, that, the other. No, he's average. And I feel like he covers his lack of ability with just being nonchalant and like kind of being blasé with his football and whatnot. Because really, what is he producing on a consistent basis? Nothing. He doesn't produce any end product in quality, doesn't go past players.
What is anyone producing on a consistent basis at the moment?
that is true. But with this guy, he was quoted as the German Zidane. And not just that wasn't just a Twitter thing either.
Who said that?
Jem, that's the thing, Jem. That is the thing, Jem. It wasn't just the Twitter thing, bro. Lothar Matthäus, German legend, said that I see traits of Zidane in this guy. That is Lothar Matthäus, bro. His former coach, his former assistant coach at Bayer Leverkusen said that, you know what, I see.
Yeah,
I think he can actually resemble Zidane. He's a top player. He's a generational talent. These are people who are in the game.
They compared him to Berbatov as well.
To be honest, anywhere else in Chelsea, he probably would be good. That's my problem. That's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, right now he is our problem, though. I hear you, Jim. I mean, if he leaves,
number 10, he'd probably bang goals and he'd look good. He played for Chelsea. He looked shit in the forward line.
But then again, we say that. But then for Germany at the World Cup in that first game against Japan, he cost them, bro. He was poor. So.
But then he came on and scored 3 goals, and he'll say it's stupid against
Costa Rica, bro. Costa Rica hype, bro. Like, no one cares about that, bro. Come on, let's be real. At the end of the day,
no, look, he ain't been good. I just still don't think he's. Look, my thing with him is that I don't think he has no ability. So people feel that he's that bad and has no ability.
He is rubbish, Jem. He's rubbish. He's rubbish. He's absolutely rubbish. And you know what? I have backed this guy more than anyone. I've been going to the game. 3 years, Jem. We've never seen 10 goals in the Premier League. Never seen 10 assists. And people say, well, he should have played more games. There's a reason he didn't play games, because he's rubbish. He's crap. You know what? I will give him one thing. And this is as someone who goes weekend. I believe the effort is there. I really do. I think he tries his hardest. I just think he's shit. That's it. He cannot. He's one-on-one. He never finishes any one-on-one opportunities. We don't see him hitting the ball from the outside of the box. There's no proper link-up. There's no link-up, Jem. There's nothing. People were saying he's good when Felix was on the pitch. I'm sorry. What system? Tuchel was our manager. He fucking had a system, and Havertz was still shit. It's rubbish. Honestly. And the thing is, Potter now has got terrible players. And the reason Havertz can't play in the system is because he's incapable. Potter's asking the players to do different things. I've already spoken about it. And this, in some way, you could say you need to be a slightly more skilled footballer because you don't have as much support around you. You're a little bit more isolated. So you say, okay, we're going to trust your quality. There is none. There's no quality up front in this team. He's not going to win aerial duels. His heading ability is fine. If you want to score a tap-in against Brighton when we lose 4-1, I'd take my hat off to you, Havertz. It's pathetic. It's rubbish. And I don't even think he'll play well at Bayern Munich, if I'm being honest with you. I can't see it. It's just, how can a top team look at this player and think there's any potential? I don't see anything. I see zero, absolutely zero. And, you know, for me, I completely understand why fans backed him to a point, because when we finished Sarri's season in 2018, 2019, whatever it was, and then we had Lampard come in, that was the revitalization of energy in this team. And we backed Mount, James, we had a bit of characters in their youth, Tomori, all of that. And we finally had some players that wanted to actually play for the badge. Then the next season, we bring in quality. This is going to be the title-winning team. We've got Kai Havertz. He's going to bring us the Premier League title, all this crap. He was rubbish. I was there at the Champions League final when he scored. It was a great goal. I'm not going to take anything away from him. But name anything else. Name anything else in that season. He did fuck all. Super Cup, whatever you want to call it. It's a penalty. I mean, Reece James could have won us the Super Cup.
I disagree with that personally, but that's what I do.
Just one last thing on Havertz though. Like, and I've asked a question in the chat, but like, what are his like outstanding attributes? Because again, like I said before, he's not a great passer, not a great dribbler, not a great finisher. Like, are we going to base it all off of movement? Like, this is what people call the German Zidane. Like, I don't see what these amazing attributes are. And for me, go to Union Berlin and do your thing in the Bundesliga, bro. But for the Premier League and Chelsea Football Club, you're not at the level.
And I agree. Maybe that is the case. Maybe we'll just never see that Kai Havertz at Chelsea, and it's looking like it, to be honest. So if that's the case and he needs to go in the summer, then fine. You make money on him and you move on. But, you know, with Kai Havertz, you know, everyone's each entitled to their own opinions and what they think of a player and how he plays and whatever. Under that Tuchel second part of the season, I actually thought it's better. And I think of games like Real Madrid at home. I thought he was very good, to be honest. His link-up play and his movement and his, you know, everything in his game. And he made it, like, do you know what it was? I'll tell you what it was with Kai Havertz then. It was that he made things just look easy, in my opinion, then, in how he played the game. Now, I don't know. I don't know where that's gone. You can't defend that. He's just not been good. And that's my point. I don't think he's good. You know, even now, I don't think he's good. I just disagree that he's not been ever good at Chelsea, in my opinion. You know, that's all I'm saying. So, but, you know,
what makes him good? When was he good? When?
He was very good under the second part of Tuchel's season. He had a good second half of the part of the season at Chelsea. He did. He did, you know. He was him. Mount, Kante was in that team. I think we had Jorginho there.
Havertz,
you know, he had Werner up front. It was Werner, Havertz, Mount. You know, and Werner weren't great, but you know, he had I think 21 goal assists in that season. You know, like my point is, I thought there was a good spell. You know, it might have not been a long spell, but it was a good spell. What I see of Kai Havertz, and I thought, wow, this guy's got something about him. There's something.
I mean, we certainly had a fluid attack. I can agree with that. We had a fluid attack. But Havertz wasn't winning us games. He wasn't the one creating all the chances. It was other players that were scoring those winners, that were getting those assists. Okay, we know he got a couple. All right, fine. You know, it's like you scored against Bournemouth the other day.
Clutch goals. Anyway, yeah, I know what you're saying. Right. Yeah. Anyway, let's because otherwise we're going to sit on Kai Havertz for well too long. I can't be asked. Dinishans with the donations. This club is a mess. Potter will be Voldemort soon. Fair enough, Dinishan. Big up to you. Thank you for the donation. We've still got over 500 people. I did say I would open up the lines and let you in. I will do that, actually. I think we need to allow people to actually come in and have their say. I was I didn't expect us to spend so long on the player ratings, but it always tends to be the case, isn't it, when we're doing it? But in terms of numbers at the moment, obviously, GNA TV, we've got obviously 550 likes. I don't know how we've got that today, but big up to every single one of you guys. Thank you very much on there. We're going to open up the lines now. Chelsea Fan TV, we've got 170 likes, still 450 people here. Let's get these likes up. Let's get this over 200 likes, guys.
Push 'em up,
Easily
guys.
do
Come on.
that as well. Should we open the lines? Should we let people come in? Should we let the madness happen for the next God knows half hour or so? Should we go? And
I think we also at some point got to address the man in my Abbey. You have to address the main man.
Oh yeah, go on. You can start doing
What's
that
going
while
on?
people come in. Yeah, go on.
Listen, the boys gave everything. They gave everything. But no, listen. Despite my Abbey and again even some criticisms that I have of Potter in general, I don't like the whole in or out business. I'm never a fan of that. I feel like you can be in with somebody but still criticize them heavily. You can be maybe even out but still like accept that it's not their fault or maybe they're not the root of the problem. But again, for me, we need to give the guy time clearly because the club's investing so much in him and staff and whatnot. And maybe he'll be the best person to help start the rebuild. Maybe not to see it to its completion and win us a league title or anything, but I think maybe I'm happy to see him do that. But obviously, in the meantime, because he hasn't earned that trust from me as a fan yet, I still have to analyze and critique him on what he's doing on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
Decision making with like personnel, your in-game man management, your tactics that you're setting up, and a lot of it isn't giving me that much confidence. Now, I will accept that yesterday was a better performance. Again, I think our XG was pretty good. Like overall, we did play some better stuff based on what we've been playing recently. So there is some cause for some optimism. But obviously with Potter, I just wonder whether he's going to crack under the pressure because a lot of pressure is building on him. And again, Jem, you sent me a video earlier actually.
Oh yeah.
Like the fans outside the stadium, and fortunately they were actually being quite positive about him, which was good because I feel like he deserves to be backed. But
also you sent me this as well, which is obviously that is pretty much our best team, which is injured.
Yeah, legit. You hear fans say it all the time, like, "Oh, our injured 11 would beat our first 11." No, like this would actually beat our first 11, guys. I think Zakaria could do a job at centre back. We have our best fullbacks there. Kante in midfield, Felix. That could cook. I can't even lie. So, Potter deserves some allowance with that. And again, while he may to some people be looking like a fish out of water currently, I think we do just need to give him time. We just need to accept that this is not an easy situation for any manager to manage in. Again, Pep for me took over the best team in the best squad in the country when he came into Man City, and he only finished third in that season. It was nowhere near a title challenge. He needed to get so many players up before he could go and make them what they are today. So Potter needs time. We need to give the board time to hopefully get things right in the transfer strategy, and hopefully things change. But for now, it's rough, and we just got to hold it.
Yeah. I hear you. Should we go on to let's just talk to some people that have obviously been in the show as well and listening. Let's talk to Don first. Don, how you doing, mate?
I'm stressed, man. I think I'm more angry today than I was yesterday. I'm pissed, bro. I'm still so pissed, bro.
Tell me about it.
Oh, where do we start, man? Firstly, Mason Mount doesn't get a free pass for me. I'm not one of these fans that's extreme and saying, we need to get rid of him because it's true. Let's build Potter's system, see what his players can do, and then add Mason Mount in there. Because I think he's definitely warranted staying at Chelsea because we've all seen what he can do in terms of assists and goals. The season before last, I think was his best season. I think about last season. Was it last season?
Last season.
Last season. But let's be real, he's been poor for England and Chelsea now for over a year. And I'm tired of the excuses he gets from a large portion of the fan base. He's not performing at the moment. He should be like a squad player right now. There should be someone else in front of him, and Mason's coming in when he's needed or coming off the bench. That's his level at the moment. He's not good enough to be starting. He's not performing well enough to be starting at the moment. If you want to talk about the team yesterday, Koulibaly again, shaky from the beginning. I don't know if that rubbed off on Chalobah because Trevor was poor. We done the team lineup yesterday, Jem, and I put Chalobah as my right back. So I'm disappointed that Potter started Aspie again because I can't defend him if he's making these sort of decisions when it comes to the team lineup. Yeah. I just can't defend him because again, Aspie, you played with Willian for nearly a decade. You know the guy is a one-trick pony. Why are you allowing him to get on his right foot and shoot towards the goal when you know he's one-footed? Willian went to Brazil. He went to Brazil and came back to the Prem, and now he's scoring against Chelsea Football Club, right? And he's meeting his old friend on the other side there, who's supposed to be marking him, but said, "Fuck it, Willian, go on, have a shot, mate. Let's see what you've got. Let's see if you can still fucking bury it in the corner." That's what happened yesterday. Yeah, we need specialists in certain positions because, like I said yesterday, Jem, I told you about Havertz, and someone needs to unlock something. You said to me his confidence. I don't agree with that. I'll be honest, because he's being played week in, week out. The manager's obviously got confidence in something that we're not seeing. I know a lot of guys here don't rate Havertz, and we get onto him. What does he actually do for the team? Graham's obviously seeing something in him. That's why he keeps playing him. So this confidence thing, I don't really agree with it, because as a professional footballer, you should be able to make a simple pass, yeah, when the players are making runs off of you. Okay,
Yeah,
Mason Mount again. We know he's not creative, but how simple was that ball from Felix? Felix did the hard part. All you had to do was put it in that space. And what do? No, let me go to old man on the fucking right-hand side, Aspilicueta. Let me play it back to him instead of playing it in the fucking space. And over there at the Emirates, we've got fucking Odegaard playing it in the space without even looking to see Martinelli's over there, playing it in the fucking space, and Martinelli scoring from it. What's Mason doing?
Don, this is the whole point of when we always cry about, and this is the true meaning, is that we have no creators in this, and this is the biggest thing we moan about. Like
I know we've got no creative players, but
we moan about the players that are not creating, but we know that we need creators.
We need creators, but Jem, these chances that we're not creating for are basic chances that, as a professional footballer, you have been playing football for an academy since you were 6-7 years old. You're telling me you can't make a simple through ball? You can't make a simple fucking through ball.
No, I agree. They should do. 100%.
Come on, bro. Come on. I'm not hearing none of this. Mason Mount's not creative. We know this. But as a professional footballer, I'm sorry. These are simple passes that you have to be making. That it goes back to Potter. I know Potter made some weird decisions yesterday. I would have never started Aspilicueta. I dropped Koulibaly in my starting lineup. I put Badiashile in there, however you pronounce his name. I know he's just come in, but he's obviously been brought in for a reason. Everyone above has seen how he's been playing in France, right? And they've brought him in because they think he'll fit Potter's system. Throw him in there. There's nothing to lose. Throw him in there. Koulibaly needs to be taken out of the fucking the line at the moment. He needs to be taken out of the team. He's not on form, and we've got options there that he can start. So this is why I can't defend Potter after his decision making yesterday. I cannot defend him yesterday. As much as I want this system, this whole process to work, I am going to be patient. I'm not going to lose my shit completely. But now I trust Potter to make the right decisions in the next game. Take Mason Mount. You know what? Mason Mount, I want him long term to be around the Chelsea squad because I've seen stuff from him. I've seen stuff. Havertz, if we get an offer for him, I don't give a shit. I will fucking drive him to the airport if he goes back to Germany. I will fucking drive him there myself, right? Mason Mount, he can be in and around the team, but listen, it's time to protect this guy now because we know what fans expect from Mason Mount. He can't do. Guys, we're gonna have to accept it. He can't do it. He's not no generational talent. He's not an Enzo. He's not a specialist in that position. He's just someone that we can utilize. We can make use of Mason Mount. But going forward, we need someone in that position this month. In fact, someone half decent in that position this month because it's only going to get worse, bro. It is only going to get worse.
That only goes back to what I said earlier on in the show. Actually, at the beginning of the show, when I was saying the same things, when I was saying about how, we either commit to buying players that are priorities in positions now, if we can, if they're available, or maybe we just don't buy whatsoever and we just wait till summer and we just stick out to the summer rather than buy the seconds and the thirds because we're panicking and we need someone there.
Fucking poor Joao Felix. Poor Joao Felix. The guy hasn't even been here for 3 days. Yeah, and he stepped into that fucking team, and he looks like the best attacker that we've had in a couple seasons. How?
Yeah, and then he gets himself sent off like an idiot. But anyway,
that pissed me off. That pissed me off. That did piss me off. But one last thing, just to wrap up, yeah.
God, and also, are we going to make top 4 like Declared saying here?
Oh no chance. I said it yesterday. No chance. No chance whatsoever. We're not making top 4 now. It's done. It's done, man. I had some slight hope, but yeah, now it's completely done. Especially with Zakaria out as well. I just don't see that. We're not getting top 4, man. It's done.
Cool.
It's done.
Okay, let's move on quickly. I think Winter Surfer's not here. He's on the phone. He said, otherwise I would have gone to him. Let's go to Gabe. Gabe, CFC, what you saying, mate?
Hey, you can hear me, can't you?
Yes, we can hear you, mate.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Right. What's there to even say at this point? Generally, by our capabilities, I honestly genuinely think we're going to get relegated. It's my opinion. It's my opinion. Like, honestly, like the guy who says Potter in, like, just if you could unmute, like, I want you to explain why do you still think we should have Potter in?
Do you think Pochettino would do a better job?
Sorry, can you speak out?
Because Potter is like long-term manager.
Right, and with our results, you think he's doing the best he can do?
We got a bad team, but like Pep said after FA Cup or whatever we played against City, he said to Chelsea like not to fire. What's it, Potter?
Right.
So let me ask you this: why should we sack Potter, and who should you bring in if you do sack him? Go on. Answer that one.
8 out of 11 losses. Like,
who are you bringing now? Who are you bringing in?
Who are you bringing?
I honestly don't know.
I don't want to talk about Tuchel because I hate doing this, and we shouldn't be going back to Tuchel. Well, maybe we shouldn't. Maybe not.
Tuchel would do a better job at the minute.
Yeah, he would. But I'll tell you now with Tuchel, and I agree with Alex. It wasn't more to do with on the pitch. With Tuchel, it's to do with him and what I think the hierarchy and other bits and bobs.
Honestly, genuinely, I think ever since Todd Bowley has come in, like it's just we've been up and then just down and just we're nowhere near as best as we were last season.
Let me say something, Gabe. We were always going to go down eventually. This was always going to happen with this.
But not to this level. Not to this level.
Not to the level of the way that we're losing. But, we were going to have this moment at some point. Yeah. And at the end of the day, if it was Tuchel, if it was Potter, which it is now, and I agree, he needs to find ways to still win games. He has to try and work something out. But until this squad gets addressed, and I'm talking about the midfield, I'm talking about the right back, I'm talking about creators and I'm talking about the depth as well. Until we address these things, which unfortunately the owners can't do when they've only got one window and they've had one summer window, which people may say they've wasted a bit of time because they spent too much time with the centre back area. But then January, for example, very hard to get the targets, the main targets you want in this window because teams might be in the Champions Leagues or playing very well in their league, so they want to keep their best players. Like these are things where we're just going to have to maybe go, it is what it is. And this is why I say if we can't get what our first targets in January, maybe we're just going to have to take the hit and just go to this next summer window and then hit our targets. Like that's it for me.
We can't waste any windows. We're not in a position to waste any windows.
Yeah, but at the same time, Couch, do you want us to just buy players that maybe ain't our priority?
Well, I mean, who did we buy this winter so far? Badiashile, Fofana, Santos.
I mean, look, this whole.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think any window at this point in time can be wasted. We have to use every window to our advantage.
I agree, but if you can't get a player that specifically plays in the position that is your main target, you can't get him, can you? And I
agree, but like, but to say there's so many issues with this team right now. Like, there's so many. Like, we have issues in pretty much every department on the pitch. So we have to use the windows, every window, as a way to improve the squad. I think they're doing it the right way. Obviously, Nkunku is another guy that's coming in the summer, all of that. But there's no windows to be wasted right now. Like, do you tell me we can't find a backup right back in this January? You don't think so?
No. Well, obviously, from what I've read, apparently they're finding it very hard to persuade players to come and join. And part of it is because it's Reece James that they're up against. And I
agree with that, but there has to be somebody that's looking for some sort of I said it the other day, like you need somebody that's going to be like in that 28, 29 range where, they're Philippe Luis, somebody of that sort who's just looking for a last payday, something like that. Where
then it goes back to quality, doesn't it? Because then then it goes back to quality because then you want to bring in a player. All right, it's not equally on the same level as Reece James, but benefits whatever it is that we're trying to do. There's no point just bringing in anyone. And that's my problem.
So what I'm advocating for is like a mercenary. There's somebody that just wants to get paid at this point in time, and is quality still. Because you're not going to get Pedro Porro, a guy that's like in the prime of his career, to go deputize for Reece James. I said this already. Like you're not going to see those types of players come in. So we need quality. We need somebody that's still of a standard that can come in and give us good minutes, but is not necessarily challenging for the top spot every week. You know what I mean? That's where
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't think it's going to be a big problem to get a right back in, because the way Reece James plays, his like style of play, really aggressive, and let's be honest now, he is injury prone, right? We've got a lot of games to play this season, and for the past few seasons, there's been a lot of games, right, in the Prem. You can definitely find a player who is willing to step in, because we're not going to be able to play Reece James every single game, regardless of him being fit or not. We need to rotate round. So I don't see that being a big issue, because we can't depend on Reece James every single game. And that would definitely help him as well, because he keeps getting injured. And now it's getting to the point where it's detrimental to the team, because he's a big part with how we play, how Graham Potter wants to play. And when we lose him, we lose a lot. But I think getting a right back, I don't see that being a big problem, because there is a lot of games to play, and Reece James ain't going to play every single game. So I don't see that being an issue, to be honest.
Okay.
I was going to ask you, Dom, like you said earlier, you wanted Koulibaly out. He scored last night. Why do you want him out? Why do you want him out if he scored?
Okay, he scored a goal, but did you see his overall performance? How shaky he was in that back line? It's like a disease. As soon as he was all shaky at the back, it latched on to Chalobah, right, Trevor? And he was someone that I was saying, look, I'll even get him in, play him at right back. Before the World Cup, he was on good form. He should have never got dropped. But what happens? We came back after the World Cup. Trevor's nowhere to be seen. I said, yeah, Trevor, cool. Yesterday, I would have played him at right back. I would have never played Aspie at right back. It's like this disease, this virus from Koulibaly, this nervousness over there, just latched onto Trevor, and he was just doing whatever. He was doing whatever yesterday. He should have come off at halftime as well, to be honest. So it don't matter if Koulibaly scored or not. His performance overall, he was poor.
Let's quickly jump on. Let's quickly jump onto some others as well, because I haven't got loads of time with me as well. Winter Surfer, what are you saying? If he's there, don't think he's there. He's still in a call. Potter in. Let's see what Potter in's saying. What we're saying, Potter in. What we saying?
I'm saying Potter's a good manager. Like you gotta back him. The team.
After 8 out of 11 losses, you still think he's doing a good job?
But the team isn't great. We need to improve on the midfield, right back. Like, there's a lot of stuff that can be improved.
Okay. So what would you do then?
Examples, what would you improve?
Yeah.
I would improve the midfield and put, like, someone like Enzo Fernandez. If we could get someone like him, because I know we're not going to spend 120 million on him, because that's done. So I'll get like someone who can create.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. We lack creativity 100%. I think it's something that we should be looking to do. Like, if we can get it done, then do it. Like, we're struggling. We are, the one thing I would say is by February, though, when you think about equally Reece James is training, Ben Chilwell's training, Wesley Fofana should be back, Pulisic's back in a couple of weeks. We don't know about Raheem. They said a couple of weeks as well. Things hopefully eventually might just swing round for us going into Feb, just before the Champions League. And then obviously we've got the busy periods of games in between and around that going forward. So, I am hoping eventually things will get better. But at the moment, we are in the mud. It is really hard to get out of it at the moment as well. So, Winter Surfer, what are you saying?
Yeah.
We're in the mud, didn't we?
Well, yeah, we're bathed in it. We're bathed in it. I just think I'm not for this Potter in, Potter out debate. At the moment, I'm just the thing about people who want him to stay and everything like that and want to back him. That's all good. It's just he is not helping us help him.
Yeah.
In terms of his team selections, like going to a back five again.
I agree.
Why? It's Fulham. Yeah. It's Fulham without Mitrovic, and plus we were getting outdone in midfield as well. So why are we doing that? Why are we going to a back five? Why don't you play Badiashile? If you're going to a back five, then why don't you play Badiashile? He's left-footed. Why aren't you just doing that? Why do you need to bring Lewis Hall in? You can play Cucurella, whatever you think. But you keep picking players that are now onto their third manager in terms of just not doing it. Yeah, you are making those choices, and I thought down to 10 men. I saw us hitting long balls to Kai Havertz to try and run onto. And I saw no movement of a Aubameyang or a Fofana off the bench. If you're going to do the long ball, then you need P and P. I would have thrown both of them on there. and just say go. If you're going to do that, that's absolutely fine. He kept Havertz on for 96 all the game, 96 minutes. He was on for. He bought Mount off at 80, and Chukwuemeka came on and did more than Mount in that game in just 10 minutes. If we're being honest, why are you bringing Conor Gallagher on? There's no point at all. You're going for it. What does he do? You're just literally you've taken Mount off for doing the same thing that Gallagher does. But it's like I'm not. It's just look, we know the board are backing him, right? No matter what, unless there's something very drastically more goes wrong and it goes to extreme. And you can say, he's got I'll go back to it. Oh, the injuries are an issue. You're right, but we're not so far injured where you still have to pick the same players. You don't have to pick the two players that everyone that has a go at. Okay, you don't have to do that. You don't have to pick Aspie at right back. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go to a back five. Can I just say as well? I don't like doing this, but we told you that Kepa was still Kepa. Okay.
Yeah, you remember?
We told you that. Yeah. For me, Kepa's shot stopping has never been an issue. Yeah, he's great at shot stopping, but I don't rate a goalkeeper on shot stopping. I rate them on their decisions. And for him to come out like that, he didn't even try. I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know what he was
Did
doing.
he even try and reach for the ball?
No, I don't know. I think he thought his right arm was longer than he thought.
Yeah, but I would say this: thank God the game is not televised on Sunday at all, and I don't have to get a dodgy link. I can just leave it alone and just go back to it every half an hour or something like that. But yeah, we're not in the mud; we're in the shit.
Yeah,
we are down bad, and it's what I don't know if that Sunday's atmosphere is going to be. I want to hear that atmosphere.
I'll be there.
If we go 1-0 down, you think it's toxic now?
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. I don't envy you guys going to the game on Sunday.
I don't even want to go. I'm thinking of ways of to make myself feel pissed. Should I go to the pub 3 hours earlier and so I don't feel the pain, or what do I do?
This is honestly one of the few times ever I'm actually glad I didn't buy a season ticket.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Couch critic, Mr. Critic himself. What do you want to say?
What can I add?
We'll just take that deep breath.
What can I add to this conversation? Like, everything's been said. Everything's been said. I agree with everything that's been said so far. The one thing that I do need to touch on, and I think that is being ignored, is yes, everyone's calling for blood right now, and the first name on the chopping block is Graham Potter, which I definitely don't agree with. Honestly, this guy's not had a preferred 11 since he started at Chelsea. He's not had a preferred 11, so I can't really evaluate. Granted, he has made some mistakes, as Winter Surface pointed out. He's made some mistakes in his selections. Sometimes you come out of you go into the game, the pre-match assessment's been poor. He has to change the game halfway through, doesn't even get to halftime before he has to change the system. These are just poor decisions from the brain trust. And these are things that I question about him, but I can't question him overall until I see him with the best lineup that he has available to him. And
system.
It's just not there right now. And so this is what brings me to the next part of what I wanted to talk about, where I think if we want blood, the blood that needs to be shed right now is on that physio department. Let's be real here. This is, even if it's just coincidental, if there's blood that needs to be spilt right now, it has to be spilt there. 11 injuries. We have Fofana get injured, come back, and then get injured again. We have Reece James get injured, come back and get injured again. We have Conte get injured, come back and get injured again. This is ridiculous.
Bring back Eva.
This is the foundation of our.
Now we got Sakari injured.
When you think of Reece James, only world-class player we have, Conte, the fundamentals, the building blocks in the midfield, and then our 80 million pound player, a defender in Fofana, getting injured twice. This is a physio issue right now. And then you see Zakaria walk off the pitch. Too many injuries. And I agree there's a lot of games right now, but they are not managing these injuries very well. And that's where I want to see blood spilled. Nowhere else right now.
How do we spill blood in an era that we already caught? This is a new medical department team. Like we called them
Exactly.
in the summer.
Get rid of them.
So,
You know what's funny?
it's
You know
mad.
what's funny though? You know, Ford. You know
Wait,
what's funny though?
I just want to know:
I think
is it actually a new medical team?
Yes,
It
they
is.
flushed out the old, and brought in some of the new. Yeah, so
Because the point I wanted to make was a lot of these players we already knew and questioned, are they injury prone? They have, like, even Zakaria doesn't have a great record as well. If you look at the pile up, hey, look at every player's history. We've questioned them, and they do have a record of being injury prone. So, is it bad luck, or did we just accumulate a lot of injury prone players? Some are unfortunate, like Broja's knee and stuff like that. But look at every player on that list. Chilwell, Reece James, we already knew. Zakaria had a history too. Pulisic, Sterling a little bit too. I'm not so sure. I'm even forgetting. This list is big. Who else is on that? Fofana was. Everyone criticized Fofana. His short history record at Leicester, right? And he missed a lot of games. If you look at all their history, right, they do have a bad record. Kante's in there too. So it's not like a major surprise. It's a real unfortunate, but we had highly prone risk players.
You're probably right, but even with that said, declared, there's still like, it's funny. I woke up today thinking that, and then I go on Twitter and Matt Law's posting that they're looking at the physio department right now.
Yeah,
like
they're reviewing it.
You know what I mean? Like
well, they're looking for magicians. That's what they're looking for, because I said this the way
keep guys fit. Keep them fit.
Yeah, I know.
If they're not, so back in the side. We'll put them back in the side.
No,
but this was always going to be a very high risk season for players because of the amount of games being played. Any player that went to the World Cup and the amount of games is squeezing in short time is always, there's going to be probably a lot of injuries across the board everywhere.
Declared they shouldn't be getting injured after one game, mate. That's a problem. You know that.
No, I said it in general. The way the season was going to go with the World Cup stuck in between, it was always going to be high risk for players. And now throw in we have a number of players, a high number of players with a track record, and they were going to be at high risk. And that goes for every other team as well, as major big teams, that a lot of them went to the World Cup. And then a lot of them that have a break, and then all of a sudden they're going to have back-to-back games. There's no break, right? It's a high risk. So
it's a mess.
Is it bad luck, or is it actually, we were in the high-risk zone? This potentially could have happened because of the players we had.
I'm telling you, I don't think that they've assessed the even if you say they're injury prone, I don't think that they've assessed these players well enough, because they didn't go to the World Cup. The guys that I'm most worried about,
it could be a combination of both.
Let me.
It could be a combination of what I said and what you said, and if it's a new medical team, and then like who are they? Like, do you know what I mean? Did we get like some amateurs, or did we get like? Did he bring some baseball ones and someone that's never dealt with leg injuries? I mean, I don't even know. Like, you guys brought up, I didn't know there's a new medical team. I didn't know Bowley really wanted to gut out the club all the way till the medical team.
That needs to be looked at, because you can't, like, these guys didn't go to the World Cup. Conte didn't go to the World Cup. Fofana didn't go to the World Cup. Reece James didn't go to the World Cup. Chilwell didn't.
No, but Cash, that's what I'm saying. When you have a break,
let me finish my point. That period where they were supposed to be resting and be able to be ready for the second half of the season, they did not assess them correctly, because they shouldn't have been getting injured exactly the very minute they come back into the squad.
No, you're right. What the point I was making? Yeah, but the point I was making, when you have that rest and then you come into back-to-back games, high intensity, this and that, that's also a risk as well. Just because having time off, right, doesn't mean you're fully filled. You actually get soft and you lose that sharpness.
Fofana got injured in training. Conte got injured in training. It's not like they're doing these high intensity workouts. They were training to get back into full fitness and got injured again. So the reason why they didn't assess it correctly, because they didn't give them enough time to properly heal before they put them back into a training regimen. That's the problem.
Can be right, Couch, but there's heaps of factors, because when you come back from an injury, you're at high risk of re-injuring in that period as well.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, is it Potter's training, right? Is it the actual training, or is it the medical team that, like, there's, do you know how many, there's so many factors here? Yeah. Or is it just pure bad luck?
They get medically assessed before they go on the pitch after an injury. So they train, but they still get assessed. So, it still goes back to who's in control of this medical team and who's assessing these players to allow them to go on. Because you've got to think, right? Reece James plays one game, he's okay, right? Trains, is okay. Plays next game, gets injured. Same injury occurrence. You know, like, I get what you mean. Like, yeah, there could be like an unlucky factor to it, and like maybe just shit happens, and I get that. But maybe we are misjudging the timing of the return of some of these players, and that's why they're reviewing the medical team, because it's bad. Since last year, we've been the most injury-prone team in the Premier League by a mile. Reece
James's personal trainer came out when he got injured and said, if I speak or something along the lines of that. So there's something there. Someone obviously rushed him back. You know, there's something not right. But you know what? It's happened now. You know, what we can do now is just look into it, like they've said, like Matt Law said we're going to do. So we just have to see what comes out of it.
At the end of the day, the manager makes that call too. Like the assessor can say, you know, he can play 50 minutes, 60 minutes.
Makes the assessment of whether or not the players are fit enough to play.
And they tell the manager.
Yes, but they make a recommendation. End of the day, like he can play 50 minutes, 60 minutes, or he shouldn't play. Like what? No. But what I'm saying is that in desperate moments, they'll rush him. Yeah. So a manager can choose the risk, whether to rest him or not.
That's on the medical department.
No. I'm saying when the medical department thinks they're ready, right? But he's ready for, you know, maybe 45 minutes at best or something like that, right? But the manager can kind of push him more, leave him for the whole game, whatnot, if he's desperate, depending on how the game goes. And there's always managers that can take that little risk going against the advice, right? What you're saying is before that. I agree, right? I'm saying afterwards, the manager also has a choice and can push the players too. So if a manager is doing it hard and it's a big game, and the player really wants to play as well because of, you know, the type of game it is and what it means, then there is players and managers do take that risk as well.
The problem is, let me just finish this one point, gentlemen, and I'll get out of the way. Yeah. The problem is when a player comes back from a long-term injury, you have you set up a schedule for them. So he can play this amount of minutes, nothing more than that. He can play this, he can play that. We have to rest him here. Like, you manage his minutes accordingly, and you lay it out before they even play. So that's part of that's not just the manager. That's the medical department that does that. They put together these schedules. We cannot overload this guy who just had a knee injury. He has to play only this amount of minutes. So that is where I think the mismanagement and the assessment has been wrong. Like, they've not really properly assessed how much load these guys can take after coming back from these injuries, and that's why there needs to be blood.
Yeah. No, I hear.
I agree.
I was gonna say, anyone who hasn't spoken yet, I want to hear what everyone else has said who hasn't spoken yet. Get their thoughts.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go to Showtime quickly because I haven't got long myself anyway. So Showtime, what are you saying?
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Happy Friday. Look, at the end of the day, if nobody wants to blame Potter, you blame Todd Bowley, because it's at the hands of Todd Bowley. This is his structure. He came in, there was a blueprint set aside for him to follow. Some people may not have been happy with the structure of before, but I bet you're happy about it now, because what Todd Bowley has done, he's come in and flipped the whole switch on us. He's fired everybody. He came in like the former president of the United States of America and said, "You're fired, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired." And then he brought in everybody else to make changes. And now look at where we at. We're in 10th of the Premier League. We've been losing. You brought in a small manager that has no winning pedigree, has won nothing that can live up to the previous manager. It's appalling. Our players are not happy with the medical staff. It's just a whole bunch of shambles. And for us to say we can't blame Mr. Potter, well, I'm blaming Mr. Potter because he's he's the head coach. He's not a manager. He's the head coach. And one thing I don't like is the fact that he came out and said, "Oh, I'm in contact with the board every two to three times a week." You're not that. You're not. Why are you in contact with the board? You don't bring in players. You have no say in what players come in or go out. You're just the head coach. So your job is to coach the team, and which you're not doing because we haven't won a game in how long? So I'm not pleased with Potter. I'm not pleased with Mr. Bowley because
let me ask you this, Showtime. Is it completely Potter's fault? Everything?
No. Look, I said, look.
That's what you're
It
sounding
starts
like
with
at the moment.
no. It starts with Todd Bowley. He's the big problem here. He
Why
is
is he the
the
problem?
champ. He is the problem.
Why?
He came in that there was the structure that we had that we've been successful with for 20 odd years.
It wasn't successful the last
It
5
was
years.
successful. We won trophies. You were happy with screaming. We won the Champions League. We won the FA Cup. We won the league. We won the league.
We
It
haven't
wasn't
challenged for the
consistent.
league. We have not
It
challenged for
wasn't
the league.
consistent, but we still won. That was the big.
No,
But
it
it's
was
not
never
sustainable.
consistent.
It's not
Wait a second.
sustainable.
It was never consistent.
How was it
league,
not sustainable for 20 years? You
Because
did
we
something
haven't
for 20 years.
we
That's
have
not
not challenged for the
sustainable.
league. Wait, one at a time.
Hey.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
One
Sorry, go on,
second,
Jem.
guys,
Go on,
one
Jem.
second, right? We failed in the Premier League so hard, and we keep covering that, right? We should have been much more successful in the 20 years that we were under guard of Roman Abramovich.
Yeah.
We've got this thing of masking and covering about win. Yeah. Yes, we did win. And we were the most or have been the most successful team in English football for the last 20 years because of what we've won. Yeah. But let's not mask how many times we've won the Premier League, which is still good, but should have won more. And we haven't.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're the elite trophies that we're talking about here as well. Right. That is it's a completely different project to what Man
Shoulda,
City
woulda,
have got
coulda,
going
Jam.
on
You can't
right
win
now.
every year, man. But there's
No, but we
but
didn't. It's
still,
not winning every year.
but look in 20 look
We won it in
even so,
2016.
Jam, even so, I hear what
2022.
you're saying. Even so, what was the structure before? We were still more successful than we're gonna be as projected now.
How do you know? We've just started. How do you
Projected.
been
It's
there
a
already.
prediction.
I want to add this
It's a
point.
prediction.
Everyone constantly says, right? Everyone constantly says these players are bad, and even with these bad players, we still won things. We got to finals, right?
Thank you.
Now you're comparing that system to the system that is starting now. Even
How
people
are
gave
you
a Pep
judging
Guardiola
so early?
comparison. You know what? We spent 250 mil, so we didn't drop much, right? You guys predicted that we were going to drop a little bit. No, a lot of people started this season with the transfer window that we were going to compete, right? We were going to compete top four, maybe even title challenge with DC. As soon as Tuchel gets sacked, now you guys go, oh, no, we'll expect it to drop. I mean, these players are bad, but even all the new transfers has caught that disease of badness as well, right? Potter's not the person to get us out of this situation because he's never been in this situation. I don't know how people compared Potter to Pep Guardiola because you know what? If Pep Guardiola came in and we were 12th, I'll be like, you know what? I've seen this man do this before, right? And I'm going to give him time. But I can't say that about Potter, right? You know what I've seen? I've seen heaps of managers do well with overachieve with lower teams and fail at this thing. There's a probability of more.
Use one a manager that's got a resume and a CV. Who? Because we
the
had
baseball coach,
Who?
right? From where he gets with Dodgers or wherever whatever team he chooses.
Who's
The
his
problem
name?
is,
Who do you
I don't even know
want?
his name. I don't watch baseball. But what I'm saying, if your defense,
baseball coach to coach Chelsea.
yeah,
people.
no. If your defense of Potter is that there is no other manager out there, right? If that's your defense, then that's bad. Potter has nothing. You have no.
Let me say
Potter.
something. Let me
The
say
reason
something.
why Potter is there, the reason why Potter is there is because he's a yes man. Tuchel wasn't going to be a yes man.
No.
That's
Declared
the reason why Potter is there because he's a yes man. Everything the board says, Potter says yes. And if Tuchel says no, he's fired.
Just keep going, man. All this, there is like so many managers out there, right, that we can get, and it's not even about the manager you can get. You get any manager that comes in and experienced in this situation, and to just get everyone's heads. This is a loss.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. Declare.
I'll take good evening. I'll take good evening now because good evening is about to pass us on the ladder. We are we 11th now, right? You guys are accepting that this is progress, but you got a man that
progress. Wait, okay, Declare, you've done a lot of talking. Let me just respond to what you're saying, all right? And the original point.
Yeah, let me go in after you. This is mad.
Yeah, for sure. But the original point that was made is that everything was great and rosy in the last regime, and now we've moved to this regime. We're going to be unsuccessful, apparently. Which I think is unfair to say. Again,
wrong. You're misquoting what I said.
But let me finish, bro. I didn't interrupt you, bro. Let me just finish.
But you have to quote what was said correctly.
Hey, let's
We've
finish.
been more successful in 20 years.
Let him finish.
But Jem said that. Jem said that we recognize that we were more successful. Cool, but we also need to recognize that the last 6 years have not been good enough in the league. Again, the biggest metric of how good a football team is how consistent you are over 38 games. Yes, credit to Tuchel and the players for managing to create. It wasn't really a miracle because we deserved it, but it was something that nobody could have ever predicted winning a Champions League like that. But we still finished fourth, and then the following season we just about scraped top four, or we scraped third. Cool. That is not successful. I mean, that is not successful. And again, you look at the signings that are constant that were made ever since Eminado left and Marina took the reins. The signings in general have been failures upon failures upon failures. We're losing money on a lot of these guys that we're bringing in, and a lot of these guys that we're bringing in, like your Lukaku's, your Werners, etc. And whether you like them or not as players, we didn't actually build around these guys. We didn't actually have a system in place to get the best out of them. And it's a similar situation that we've seen at Man United, where they go and spend 100 million to go and get Pogba back. They don't build around him. They don't play him like how he played at Juventus. They didn't get him a proper DM. They go and sell him for nothing, and now they go bring a DM in now. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Again, I don't want to see Chelsea continue to make those mistakes in the market because you're wasting millions upon millions of money. And that's why, again, you can't put it all on Bowley because Bowley picked up a mess. Again, look at the title of the stream. Chelsea is a mess. That mess didn't just start in the summer. It started way before that, and it's been accumulating with things like the sanctions, which, again, that isn't on Bowley. The sanctions were not on Bowley. The fact that we go and spend so much money on Lukaku, Havertz, Werner, etc., that is not on Bowley. The fact that we in our midfield, let me just end on this, right? Let me just end on this. The fact that if you look at our midfield, since 2017, who have you signed in our midfield long term? I don't think it's anybody other than maybe
Tuchel didn't want a midfielder
something like that.
Exactly.
Again, Saul, Zakaria, and then youth players coming up. That is not on Bowley. None of that is on Bowley.
Yeah, but the team that you're referring to that we finished fourth and whatnot, right? Is this same batch of players that you guys don't rate, right? So that you're not saying we failed because that wasn't a title-winning team. If that was a title-winning team, and we didn't get there, right, or get close, then that's failure. But you don't rate this group of players now, so they were a top 4 team and they were getting it. And in the middle of that, we overachieved with Champions League and getting to a whole bunch of finals. Now that this team batch of players plus another whole bunch of them, 250 mils worth, right? And now you guys, this team's not good enough. This team's a 12th rated team. Whatever was done before, that means we're overachieving. That means with the bad batch of players, we actually did well. If they didn't recruit well, listen. I'll finish the point. I'll finish the point for it.
With the intention of winning titles.
Hold on, I'll let you go straight through. What I'm saying is they didn't recruit well. I agree there, but when they didn't, and that can happen, right? They did. That's where they failed in that department. Before that, we had some good recruits.
Failed, so it was a mess.
But hold on. That team, you said it was a failure because they didn't win the title. But it started from when they didn't recruit well. But when they didn't recruit well, they still had managers and they still got something out of the bad batch of players. Now the bad batch of players, hold on. If Abramovich did what Bowley did and he's like, all right, I'm going to change the team. And if you guys all said that, then this team's not good enough to win the title. Get rid of it all. Throw another 500+ million and then get a new team, then yes. And that's what's happening now, right? Now you guys are expecting get rid of all of them because we overachieved in the last years. If you guys think this team's that bad, right? Then that means everyone before it overachieved. So now we're 11th, and we're probably lingering around here long. There's nothing to say we're going to go on a streak, right? What Bowley is going to do now, he's going to double down on his ego, right? Because he made a big call. He's going to recruit heaps now. He's going to give Bowley more than enough, right? What I'm saying is that how do you trust this guy who doesn't have a track record? Because even in the past, when we recruited badly, at least we had managers that overachieved with the bad batch of players, right? Now our recruits. I'm just going to make one more point. The recruits
getting better. You're not counting rivals getting better.
Doesn't matter because that goes individually.
It doesn't matter. How does it not matter?
No, because when you talk about last 6 years, I didn't go from year to year and talk about who did well and who did bad.
Yes,
but right now, out of the new players that we got, hold on.
So much water out of a rag. There's only a certain amount of water out of a rag.
Let me complete the point.
If the teams around you are getting better, then that's
not a fact that you're just making an excuse.
That's not an excuse.
It's not even been a season. Wait, hold on. It's not even been a season, right? That Bowley's been here, but the recruit that he's already done has failed, right? And if it keeps failing, we're going to have a bigger problem than you guys ever think. And if we don't have a manager that can get anything out of the bad players, and you keep Potter, you're going to experience what you're experiencing now for seasons for a while.
What recruits have been failures from Bowley? Name them.
Koulibaly.
No.
Koulibaly has
Sterling
played
dropped off.
How many Premier League
Cucurella
games has he played? Is Havertz a flop?
When you ask me a question, is it meant to be a future? Is it meant to be a future one, or is it meant to be on current? Can I judge Koulibaly for now? From now,
you gave Ziyech how many seasons?
Declared in hindsight, we will all say it.
I've been Ziyech out for a long time. I told him get out of here. He doesn't want to be here. How are you going to get something out of a player that doesn't want to be here?
Declared.
I said new recruits this season.
Everyone's shouting. Declared. Let me just say
people
something.
putting words in my mouth. I made it clear. New season.
Declared. Relax.
Guys.
Oh, shut up! But if I'm being misquoted, I'll interrupt.
Declared. You're looking at it. Look, when Koulibaly was brought in, a huge part of the Chelsea fan base was saying, look, that's a good signing, and logically it made sense.
I said it's a good signing.
We just lost Rudiger, right? Who was a key player in our team. Yeah. So we replaced him with another established player who's played all around Europe. Cool, he's never played in the Premier League. It hasn't worked out so far. But at the time, as a Chelsea fan base, from what I saw, majority of people were happy with that replacement for Rudiger. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked. Okay, but we can't blame Todd, because at the time when he made that signing, we said, you know what, like for like, he's not as good as Rudiger at this point. He's not as young as Rudiger, but okay, we can see the logic behind it. He's an established player. He's gonna come in. He's ready to play. That hasn't worked out, unfortunately. You're looking at it right now. You're criticizing it because it hasn't worked at the moment.
It's emotion, bro. It's
emotion. I get it.
First couple of games.
Recruits don't always work out. Yeah.
Stop talking. Thank you. All right. Aaron with the super chat says, "How about Chelsea would begin its yearly slump every December, regardless of who was the manager? Problems have always been with the squad." He still sticks that the squad is a real big issue and not the managers. He's point. Big up to Aaron. Thanks for the donation. Icky_IC says, "We won more in 04-12-12. After that, we won less." That is actually a fact as well. Yeah, because why? Because it unfortunately, it was never going to be sustainable. And this is the thing. That way of winning the way we did before was never going to be sustainable, because now bigger clubs are now getting bought out by bigger owners with more money, which are making them better. And let's not lie, I actually think the Premier League as a competition is a lot stronger now on paper, and I'm talking about teams, then maybe it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Yeah. I mean, Andrew, Alex, everyone that's ever watched, all of you guys that have watched that, but probably agree on that, can't we?
Yeah, so I agree.
Ever since Guardiola and Klopp have come in, it's just changed everything.
The issue is we have neglected so many areas of this team for a while under the old guard. Let's be serious. And on top of all of that, the managers that you talk about that were great here, like the Mourinhos and all that were bought in and that were successful, guess what? We're never backed, because in the next season, when they wanted ammunition to go again, they never got what they wanted, and then they ended up walking. Yeah. So that was what it was. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm happy for what Roman's done for this football club. He's won everything, and I've seen my club win everything I've possible to ever win, and I am happy. I'm a very gracious person, but we need to wake up and understand that module does not work anymore now. It just does not work.
Declared, I don't want no sporadic trophies anymore. We need consistency. We need to challenge.
Someone won us the Champions League 2 years ago.
So maybe
it didn't work, but it won us the Champions League. That's baloney, brother.
Talking over everyone.
It's not one reason why it's like this. Declared. You just keep trying to harp on one single reason. There's not one reason.
I feel like I gave a lot of reasons, didn't I?
No, but
I gave a lot of factors.
Everyone's so now. Look, at the end of the day, this is the thing with me and with the Potter thing. I'm not too sure whether he's the right man or not. You're right, yeah. But the only thing I will say in an instance is that I'm not going to judge him right now in regards to where we are right now, because there's so much shit and mess going on with this football club, on top of the squad and the issues and the lack of them playing for this football club and for the badge, for the mentality, all of that. None of it. We've got no spine. We've got no leaders. Yeah, right. We're missing 11 players. I just put up something earlier. The 11 that are injured are better than our fucking first 11 now. Like, we are losing. There's a lot of context. On top of that, we've been sanctioned. One of the only football clubs in the world to ever have gone through what we've been through. We started late in the summer window, 2 months late in the summer window, or I can't remember what it was, or weeks late, sorry, in the summer window. It was behind and backtracking and trying to catch up. I agree that we didn't use the time well enough, right? But we had Bowley, who made a decision to be everything and try and do everything and try and get things.
Why was that though, Jem? Why was that? Because Marina and Peter Cech left. They weren't.
Exactly. They went
left.
Or he whatever.
Yeah, but Bowley told Marina to go. She was gonna
They weren't
stay on
sacked.
to
No, they
after
didn't.
the.
No,
No, well,
they
she,
didn't.
no,
Bowley made
no,
the decision to let them go. That's not her fault.
No,
Yes.
no.
She
I
had
mean-
the chance to foresee
No.
the summer. She chose
She had
not
an
to
option.
foresee the summer. She
Yeah.
No,
decided
Bowley excused her early. She
You
wanted
wanted
to
her
stay.
there.
Bowley said you should go.
Nobody
No,
knows
no,
what
no.
happened, bro.
Bowley wanted to get
That's
women.
not true. That's not true. She was meant. She was given the option to stay.
That is
Given the option
true.
to stay.
That
Wait,
was
I want
true.
to say. I want to say.
I don't know
Walker
if you
could
follow,
have stuck
if you
there.
follow the
Stop.
pattern,
Yeah,
everything got sacked. Everyone
I
got
want to
sacked.
say. I would say.
Uh,
She
Anyway.
didn't get sacked, declared. Stop saying
She,
that
she
nonsense.
didn't get sacked like that.
No,
She
who
didn't get
stayed?
sacked.
Who's here from the old, like, from Roman King? I'm pretty sure Bowley wanted his own people, and he got rid of everyone.
Bowley wanted
No,
his
he
own
didn't.
people,
Makes
but for that
sense.
summer,
Rita
he
and
was
Shaq.
happy
Yes,
having
I want to
Marina.
So he
and
did
Trent
it. You
do
guys
her
just said
job
he
for
even
the
did the
summer.
medical room. Coaches, medical.
I have got to cut it.
Check.
I have got to,
What's
guys, I have
left?
to cut it.
Recruitment
Stop it.
leader.
Scott, hey,
Declared.
hey.
1 second. I do have to cut it because I
Yeah,
was
you
meant
gotta
to be
listen
gone 10
more,
minutes.
man.
I was meant to be gone 10 minutes ago. It's been 2.5 hours. This show. We've gone
Wait,
well
I
too
want
long.
sorry.
But listen, I will open it up and we'll just I'll put the link out straight away and we'll just bring everyone in for a call and show and we'll just do a long hours and talk about this again and go through everything if you want. But I just need to go through these super chats real quickly. True Pabby says CFC Cyprus here. I'm exhausted from hearing people who put the blame on the gaffer, the board, and have the mental issue because City is better, is what he says there. I don't think there's anything else. I'm not missed out anything. No. Look, I'm not going to say anything, actually. I'm just going to end it because as soon as I talk, someone's going to end up going again.
I just wanted to quickly say, Atchvlog, you haven't said anything in a while. Do you want to add something?
I don't know if he wants to add anything in case they all react again. So is there anything you want to say, Alex, before we finish off in style?
I think we just need to calm down. That's what I think we need to do. I think we just need to chill out.
You sound like Potter, bro.
Season is lost. Not going to win anything. We go again. We move on to Sunday. So that's all I'm going to say.
On that note, I am going to leave now. I will be back to catch up with this all again. Good show, guys. You enjoyed it all the way through. It's been pretty decent.
Yeah.
Obviously, some heated discussion.
This is actually the first time I've ever participated in one of these, and I've been watching your channel for a while. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Keep smashing the likes. Keep subscribing. Leave your comments below. Potter in, Potter out. To tell us if there's give us your reasons. If that's how you feel. But at the end of the day, this is why I like doing this because I'm not saying Declared and Showtime are completely wrong with their suggestions. That's how they feel. That's fair enough. But this is what it's about: discussing, breaking down, going through, and having a bit of not fun because it's not fun, is it? But having a bit of a discussion.
That's how you all feel deep down inside. That's how you all feel.
Apparently so. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. We'll be back again very soon. Peace out. Take care. Smash the likes, and we'll see you again.